Ladies and gentlemen, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Today's show is going to involve the little fellas from the bottom of the flat earth. We're going to bang a pot, and we're going to show some people how to bang a pot to make a lot in a little while. We're going to talk about Mr. Trump and some of the other presidents. We're going to talk about the cover-up of one of the world's greatest hoaxes. And we're going to prove that the little fella doesn't always tell the truth about everything. Sometimes he doesn't. It's like an arbitrary factor with the little fella. You never know when he's telling the truth and when he's not telling the truth. So I have about 6 pages of show notes that I want to go through today. And in those show notes, we're going to talk about the world's greatest e-beggars, beggars as in plural, and why they are the world's greatest e-beggars. And I will also want to talk to you about one of the world's greatest e-beggars who begged $1,000 from a friend of mine. He begged $1,000 from a friend of mine and got it. And how that money tap or the funds for e-begging to that particular blogger has been turned off permanently. And I have full permissions to do the information that I'm going to be giving you people about the what I'm going to call brutally fat fingers, and the fact that those fingers have damn near doubled in size in the last year and a half, and why certain people should not call other people e-beggars. That's going to be the most interesting part of the show. We're going to talk a little bit about this particular blogger, e-beggar, and fraud in the beginning of the show, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that particular e-beggar with the brutally fat fingers at the end of the show. So let me get to my notes. The little fella, Mr. Trump. Mr. Obama is going to make a special guest appearance. The Trump puppet, because he is, in fact, the president who is not telling you the truth about so many things. Oh, my God. They did this with Mr. Obama. They went through all the promises that Mr. Obama made and didn't keep, but I have not seen a proper vlog on Mr. Trump's promises. But I do remember a few. We're going to talk about the cover-up and why did it take 19 years to get a report from the 9/11 Commission that's faulty from the get-go, and why certain people didn't participate in that report, even though they were more qualified than the person making the report itself. And that's because they lie. Politicians, by definition, are known as political animals. Now, you can look that up. A politician, by definition, is a political animal. And a political animal has a certain set of goals, and their goals are to move up the so-called ladder of success. And Mr. Trump, he qualifies, he might even be a poster child for political animals, because he's made several major promises that he didn't keep. But the number one promise that he didn't keep is that he said he was going to get to the bottom of and the truth of why the World Trade Centers collapsed. Now, that's in and of itself, we would call that the baloney factor, because Mr. Trump is one of the most successful builders in the entire world, private builders in the world. And he knows that there is no possible way those buildings could have collapsed. He knew that the same day. He said it shouldn't have happened. he said within a few days, there's no way it could happen. And now you don't hear anything from him. He's gone dark. He's actually gone to the dark side, in my opinion. If you look who he's surrounded himself with, the cabinet members, his immediate, 10 cabinet members, his inner circle, most of them are dual citizens for the great state of Israel, and his advisors a lot of his advisors are dual citizens with the great state of Israel, and more specifically, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. And his son-in-law is also a huge builder, and he's building, Jared Kushner, this is the truth now, Jared Kushner has plans to build a building. It's not built yet. The plans have been approved. And the height of the building, 666, I think it was meters, might have been 666 meters, could have been 666 feet. I'd have to look. The video's up on Entertain the Stars. It's a really good channel. This guy goes through the map of Lower Manhattan and how the ley lines, which are the lines of how the geometry of downtown Manhattan have been laid out, and also the pool, the Freedom Pool, I think it's called. How it's not a square pool, it's not a rectangular pool, it's a trapezoidal pool, and the angle that's off on the pool is 119 degrees. And how if you follow that 119 degree angle, which if you say 119 in reverse, it becomes 9/11. But if you follow the angle of the trapezoid side of the Freedom Pool, or I think it's Freedom Pool. I didn't do a lot of research on this, but on Entertain the Stars, he did. So if you take that angle of the pool and you follow it, it brings you directly to the corner of the UN building. And the distance between the corner of the Freedom Pool and the corner of the UN building that line brings you to, precisely on Google Maps, is 6,666 meters. Now, the plans for the UN building, that goes back into the 50s, and it was built in the 50s, and the plans for the World Trade Center goes back into, I think it's 1952. So they had this land allotted and planned and positioned going back 75 years. This is not an accident. This stuff that you see is not an accident. This is reality. Now, I could get, well, if I switch channels, I'm afraid I'll lose the live stream. But Entertain the Stars put a video up, and he shows you so many things in his video. It's a really good channel, and he's not been censored so much. He's still getting 10,000 views on a video. That's where the lies come into play. The lies come into play from the political animals, otherwise known as politicians. They come into play because that's what they do. See, as much as the saying is true, and it was made by a comedian, George Carlin, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And what he's talking about are the clubs, the private enterprises, which we could start off with the Order of Masons. We could go to the Club of Rome. We could go to the Club of 300. We could do the Rockefeller Foundation. We could do many different. There's an Italian club. I forgot the name of the Italian club. I'm not much into that particular aspect of reality, but these people, they all have inside information. Now, there's a video I posted yesterday, and on that video, it's I did a walk around yesterday on a job site. And first of all, don't criticize the work site or the men, please. I'm asking you, if you choose to do that, that's up to you. But that video, after I did the live stream, I went to get some fresh vegetables, and I did a 10 kilometer bike ride. And when I got there, I saw a bunch of men working, and it's a typical Filipino job site. There is nothing on the job site that you won't see on every Filipino job site. The way the work is done, the type of mortar tubs that are on the job, the men work in flip-flops in concrete. They don't have, they actually don't have the proper tools to do the job that they're doing, but they get the job done. And at the end of the day, the way that work is done, that's standard operating procedure in the Philippines. Now, I've been here for 6.5 years. Every construction site has, I would say more than 90% of all construction sites in the Philippines are run the same way. They don't necessarily put the cement blocks perfectly horizontal. The mortar joints are inconsistent. Sometimes there's a space between the end of the block that they're laying and the previous block, and sometimes there is not. However, they do fill up the blocks, and the last step of the block laying wall building procedure is they fill up the blocks and then they stucco it. Now, they don't use wire like we would use in America, a galvanized steel wire with a 30-degree angle in the wire. It's a pressed wire. It's called stucco wire. They don't use that. They just throw the cement or the stucco on the wall in little plops. I call it plop, plop, fizz, fizz, stucco work. But because there's no heat variation of like 175 degrees like we had in New York or Florida, the stucco sticks just fine. And I've seen buildings that are 30 years old that the stucco doesn't crack pretty much. Any stucco is going to get a hairline, what they call hairline cracks in it. That's normal. And that comes from too much water. And what they do here is when they mix the stucco, it's not a consistent mix exactly like I personally would do. I use 5-gallon buckets. I put X amount of sand, gravel, or concrete or mason products and an exact amount of water. So that eliminates a lot of the expansion and contraction problems between something that you put on before lunch and something you put after. They don't do that. So if they have a mix on the ground at 12 o'clock, the people here stop for work. I mean, at 12 o'clock, they stop. So if there's a mix on the ground and they have a 1-hour break, they come back at 1 o'clock, and that mix might be a little bit hard, and they just add water to it. That's what causes the hairline cracks that we see here. They don't use an emulsifying agent like Acryl 60 or Acryl 40 as a water vapor barrier in the concrete. But even I've seen jobs that are 30 years old that I know of, and those hairline cracks don't affect really the structural integrity of the wall. And they'll build up. Now, I don't want to say where, but I was on a job about 5 years ago, and I told the owner of the job that the beam box on the on the fourth floor, the beam box shifted somehow, or it wasn't put into place. I wasn't there for that part of the job. And he stood on the third floor level and looked at the beam box. He said, "It looks okay to me." And I said, "Yeah, but from the street, it looks like it's off about 2.5 or 3 inches." He said, "We'll fix it with the stucco." So at the third floor, back corner of the building, the stucco was like a 1/2 inch thick. But at the front of the building, at the fourth floor beam box, the stucco was 3.5 to 4 inches thick. So what they did, they run the strings like they had in the job that I showed you yesterday. They run, it's not jet line, but it's like jet line. It's a high tensile strength nylon line. So they run these lines and they see it's 3.5 inches that they have to fill up. And as they work their way up from the shallow end of the stuccoing, they just keep plopping plops on it all day long. And that particular section of the wall took weeks to fill up and to do that section. It was a pretty good sized wall. So we're talking about like almost a 1/2 yard or more of stucco, when just like 5 cubic feet, well, maybe 8 cubic feet would have been sufficient, and maybe a yard of stucco. If you take the square footage of the building, a yard of stucco was used when 8 cubic feet could have stuccoed a good flat block wall. That doesn't matter here. So don't critique the men on my video from yesterday for the way they put the stucco on the wall or how it's done. And if you'll notice on the top of the wall, there's a line about 4 inches in the wall. That will just be when they have extra stucco, or every time they go past it, they just put plops on top of the wall. That'll look perfect. It'll be straight as an arrow. There won't be a 1/16 of an inch variation when they're done with the wall. But me personally, I wouldn't put more than 1.25 inches as a top cap. But because one end of the wall is on an angle up 4 inches on one side, and the other side is down 4 inches, well, the side that's down 4 inches has to be filled up 4 inches, the same as having the wall off kilter. So that's an interesting video, and if you want to see how real vloggers interact with the people in the Philippines, you can go watch that video. But please don't leave negative comments. I'll remove them, because this is how the work is done. Now, you're also going to see the way the job site is kept or organized. That too is precisely how work is done in the Philippines. There's no variation from one job to the other. The only time you're ever going to see a clean, organized, neat work site like OSHA would have done is if you go onto a big construction site in the city. The contractor is not local. Typically, the contractor is Chinese, and they bring in Chinese men to do the job. And when I say they bring in Chinese men, they'll bring in 15 or 150 Chinese men for 6 months, and they get a work permit, and the Philippines government allows that. And that job will be the neatest, cleanest, spotless, broom swept job at all times. The men will work 12, 13, 14 hours a day for 6 days. On Sunday, they'll work for 2 to 4 hours, depending on how much they worked the week before, if there was rain or anything like that. And they do that for 6 months, and then they go home, and that job stops. And then in 6 more months, the work permit is allowed again, and then the job starts again. In between, Filipino contractors come in and do miscellaneous stuff, digging trenches or stuff like that. So that's an interesting video if you want to see how construction work is done. And the one thing I'm going to tell you, it's bizarre in a way, is that where the men are working, they're standing on what looks like the Appalachian Mountains. It goes up, it goes down, and it varies 2 feet in height. And that's the debris field from when they did other demolition. So they're stuccoing perfectly above the debris field. However, that debris field has to be removed, and then in a few weeks, they'll go back and do the bottom part of the wall, the last 2 feet. So that's the way it's done here. So just don't try not to leave any negative comments on that video, because that I just try to give you an idea of what it's really like with certain construction crews in the Philippines. Now, there are other construction crews that are not run like that, and I've had videos about that too. But yesterday's video is interesting, and you'll see the work. The craftsmanship is excellent. You'll see the tools are, they work with what they have and they get the job done. Like Chris in Cebu says, gets the job done. So if you want to watch a pretty cool video, go there and watch that. Now, I'm going to read some comments, and then I'm going to go into the little fellas, plural, on the bottom of the flat earth. They've been lying to me about certain bloggers or vloggers on YouTube. They've been telling me stuff that I don't believe is true, so we're going to talk about that. And also I don't know if Jack Thompson is here, but we want to give Jack Thompson a big shout out, because Jack Thompson and I had quite the laugh this morning. So Jack knows what this is about. 189 reasons to stop by the Hoodwinked by an Angel show. 189 reasons. Hey, Jack, how you doing? Okay, so let me put my glasses on. I'm going to read the comments. I do see the wordsmith is here, and I'm going to go. Hey, Fox2221. Now, there's a man I met. He's actually a woodsman. He operates a chainsaw and a wood chipper. That's a real man. And let's get Bobby Digital. That's a new guy. I'm not real sure who that is. Keep an eye on Bobby Digital, please. Thank you very much, Andrew. Yeah, Entertain the Stars. That's the show. Thank you, Andrew. Now we have a Loyal Grow show, LOL. What am I looking at? And watch that guy too, Loyal Grow show. Welcome to the machine. So you're looking at it. It's going to be an eclectic vlog today. We're going to talk about 9/11. We're going to talk about my contribution to building of Battery Park City that the World Trade Center's complex was built on. In fact, I probably put several million cubic yards of fill onto the site as a deckhand on my father's tugboat. We brought in all the fill and all the pylons, and I got to work on a tugboat back in 1969 when I was 14 as a deckhand, and my dad's job was to bring the barges, scows, pile driving units, rock crushing scows to the site of the World Trade Center's, what was called the World Trade Center Reclamation Area. We put a cofferdam several hundred feet away from where the World Trade Centers were being built, and we brought the pilings and the crane barges, and that was Dad's job, to move the crane barges and the pile drivers around. But in between and during that process, for the 2 months I worked as a deckhand in the summer of 1969, we would bring scows of crushed rock from the rock crushers on the site right next to the World Trade Center buildings. And the way they got this rock was from blasting the surrounding area, or it was trucked in huge boulders, 6, 8, 10-foot boulders on huge trucks. And they would put these huge boulders into a conical rock crusher, and it would turn it into any size gravel that they chose. And then that would be conveyed on a conveyor belt to what is called a dump scow. And then Dad would take the dump scow and bring it to where it was necessary to drop. And my job was to take the lines on and off the dump scow. Donald Sturdivant's job was to start up the diesel engine that operated the hydraulics on the dump scow. Dad was the captain of the tugboat, and Frankie Stanky was the deckhand. So that was my dad grew up with a man named Frankie Stanky, and they were pretty much, they're the same age, and they were neighbors since like 1932. And so it was, Donald Sturdivant was like my dad's other deckhand's son, and he eventually became the captain of the ringer barge. And the ringer barge is a barge that puts in pilings for bridges. That's all they do, is they just put in pylons and pilings for building bridges and dams and stuff like that. They sometimes do cofferdams. But anyway, so while I was working on that job, I would tie the lines up to the scow, and we'd make up to it. And then we'd move the scow to where the dump was. And then the surveyors would radio Dad to dump the scow, and Dad would toot the horn, and Donna would open up the doors on the scow. So it was a pretty interesting job. I think the thing I remember the most, besides going on the World Trade Centers before the windows were up on the 89th, 90th floors up there, was that the rock crushers. They would put a rock into this machine that would be 6 or 8 feet in diameter, and the rock, these machines, they had to be built on site, to disassemble, and the rock would go into the machine, and it would, the hammers, it was probably, there were hammer mills and there were conical rock crushers. The hammer mills, they smashed the rocks, but you'd get an 8-foot boulder that would be popping out of the hopper. I actually remember that. I wish I had a video of that. It would be a really cool video, but that was interesting. So we're going to talk about the World Trade Centers and why they should not have collapsed. Okay, Scott Del Fuego, Zone 1, Zone 5, Zone 6, and all citywide units. Priority, all call. Priority, all call. We have an essential message broadcast from the man that foretold the collapse of America and the lawlessness in the streets and the war on police. Repeat, message from the man who foretold the war on police. All zones, monitor or pick up on your box at conclusion. Fazio has a message, necessity, citywide clear. Thank you, Scott. So that terminology comes from actually like an authoritative terminology, and that's interesting. So thank you, Scott. So I did tell people, I posted some videos just last week that some of them were taken off YouTube privately because they demonetized the videos. But in those videos, I explained that they were going to force vaccinate people. In that time era that I made the video in 2010, 11, and 12, those videos are from, I explained that they were going to force vaccinate everyone for the H1N1 flu. But that didn't work the way they wanted it to. So could have been a test, could have been something that the bacteria wasn't strong enough that they let loose, and it could have been a test. But now 5 years back, I said that they would vaccinate people in other videos, and I didn't do anything. I didn't have any kind of clairvoyant message. No, nothing told me about these incidents. This is all written down in a document called Report from Iron Mountain PDF. Report from Iron Mountain PDF. All of this was told how to prevent the world's population from being destroyed. And everything in that document, Report from Iron Mountain, was done for President Kennedy. It was 13 people sequestered, 13 of the smartest people in the world in different fields were asked, how can we prevent the population of the world from being destroyed? And they gave every possible scenario in how to prevent water pollution by not allowing the nuclear water from the nuclear power plants to run off into the streams. Well, that's happening. How to keep the skies from getting polluted. Well, that seems to be happening. How not to let the chemicals that go through your body, aka medicine, destroy the water system. Well, that seems to be happening. Everything they wrote in the PDF, Report from Iron Mountain, is happening today. And it wasn't a report. This is how far back. This is the 1984 double speak where they say one thing, George Orwell, but they mean something else. How do you prevent the water from being contaminated? Don't build nuclear power plants near river systems with insecure tanks to hold the nuclear waste back. And what did they do? That's what they did. That's what they. So you people think that this new vacation thing that they got going, everybody in the world is on vacation. This was planned to precisely to the T in 1972 in a document. I'm not going to name the document, but it's out there of how they're going to vaccinate the whole world. Now you have the gates of hell. We have the gates of hell, who seems to be out of the news cycle. He wants to vaccinate the whole world. And why? For less than 1% of the people that get the vacation package, less than 1% die from it. And here's another factor that I mentioned yesterday. Mr. Trump, and this goes to 9/11, Mr. Trump said that, like it was like May 11th, that we have a pandemic. And that same day, it was about the same day, the report from the collapse of the World Trade Centers was released. So the report was minimalized, and the vacation factor of the world was maximized. And within 5 days, they had a plan. These plans take years and years. Now, you could go back to 2 years ago. They knew about the not the H1, the what the heck is the name of that? The coronavirus. And they knew about this 2 years ago. They even practiced the drill on, I think, October 18th of 2019. So I'm going to go back to the comments. Thank you, Scott. Always with the powerful and kind words. Thank you very much. Now we have Fox 221. Thank you very much for stopping by, Fox. Appreciate that. As I said, Fox is a real man. Fox and I, we had some good laughs when he was in the Philippines. He operates a wood chipper and chainsaw. He's a forestman in the forestry business. And that's his job, doing man work with man tools. And I'm sure he likes my man skill saw, the world's largest skill saw. I didn't post that video yet. I wanted to get that CG construction site video up, but I made another one about that skill saw I built. So we have Jack Thompson is in the house. So Glitzy Chi said, okay, let me see. Let me view this. Hey, John Scrape. John Scrape. Lutzy G said, follow me on this channel, guys. John, his name is not John Scrape. I don't know who that is. See what happens. 43,600 windows. Okay, John Escape says 43,600 windows in all. The towers were assembled from more than 200,000 pieces of steel manufactured around the country, 3,000 miles of electrical wiring, 425,000 cubic yards of concrete, and 40,000 doors. Thank you, John. Yeah, there was a lot of material in there. Jack is asking, is that you, Chi? 189,000 reasons I'm pissed off, says Jack Thompson. Jack. Every problem has a solution, Jack. You know that. You know that, Jack. You know I am here to help you with the solution to that problem. Okay, so we're going to go back to the comments. I'm going to go back to my notes. Okay, so we're going to talk about fat fingers, brutally fat fingers. Chia, if that is you, actually, I would really appreciate it if you would just leave. Okay, after the way you treated me on your show the other night, I would appreciate it if you would just leave and not post, not try to establish more viewers for your channel. I thought about that, and I really didn't appreciate the way you and that R2D2 guy treated me on the show. So if that is you, I think it would be best that you left and didn't come back. Okay, thanks. I hope that you heard that. Now, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I gave you very good advice on your show the other day, and then you had a couple of guys going, it's your show, you run it the way you want. And that's true. It's your show, and you run it the way you want. But by disregarding nothing but positive criticism, that I was trying to be helpful, because all four people were overlapping in speech with four very strong accents, and no one could understand anything. And then you made fun of my positive criticism. If that's what you choose to do, Chi, that's good. It's your show. You can do that on your show. But on my show, I can say that you should have taken my positive criticism. In fact, I was even researching videos that you could watch on YouTube so that you could be a better public speaker, which was the origin of my comments, to tell the gentleman from England or whatever country they were speaking in that very strong accent, tell them to slow their speech down a little bit, because their accents prevented people from understanding what they said, and they all took offense to that. We don't have to talk no, you don't have to talk a certain way. You can all talk in very strong accents. You can all talk over each other. You can all talk in strong accents and talk over each other. That's because you can do that because you're on Chi's show. But then I actually have seen two of those three men leave negative comments on other channels about me for no reason whatsoever. So you allow that on your show, and that's your show, Chi. But I don't want you on my show because you allowed that on your show. So if I'm not clear on that, send me a message. I'll make it perfectly clear to you. I gave you constructive criticism on public speaking. Constructive criticism. I said, please have the men on your show slow their speech pattern down just a little bit and not talk over each other. And they all made fun of me. We don't have to do what you... No, you don't have to do what I want. But they also didn't have to leave negative comments on the internet about me. And those are the people that are your friends. So if they are your friends and you want to allow that on your show, that's good. I give you Warren H. the 2 thumbs up. But when you did what you did and ignored me and did that other thing that you did, that pretty much said it all. And you allowed those people to talk bad about me on your show. You allow that after what I've helped you with and done for you. So I'm going to ask you, if you are on the show, to leave my show. Please don't come back. Because if you do come back, I'll go to your channel and I'll block you. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, no, that actually, every word I said was precisely true. I went and got some public speaking videos about how to speak more clearly and pronounce your words at a slower rate so people could understand them if you have a heavy accent, and not to step on each other. They were doing it constantly. I mean, it was one thing I said is, I will get you some videos on public speaking. Please slow the men's voice patterns down. And they came on, and you don't tell us what to do. We don't, Chi, it's your show. You do what you want. And I just left the show. But the only thing I said prior to offering the advice to talk slower and clearer was, I said that I've been listening to the show for 40 minutes. I put it in the chat window. And I've basically only understood 10 or 15 words from one of the particular bloggers. And they were just random words in random sentences. Well, why would anybody want to watch a show like that? I mean, I don't understand why anybody would want to watch a show like that. If you're sitting there trying to figure out what each person says, and you have 4 people talking over each other, now you have to decipher what's inside each piece of information from each vlogger or commenter. Where is the fun in that? And aside from the fact that the topic matter that was in the title of the video was not what they were discussing, and not my show. When I put up a title in a show, I talk about that topic matter. So it's fair. I didn't leave any negative comment there. I wouldn't do that. It's not my show. It's the same way I don't leave negative comments on the people that are criticizing me on other channels. Not my show. You want to run your show like that, you run your show like that. I don't have to run my show like that. I don't allow trolls on my show. I don't allow people to name names. And then the pièce de résistance to that was 2 of those 3 men that were on Chi's show have been leaving negative shit on other people's channels about me. They don't even know me. Or maybe they do know me and they don't like me. And that's 2 thumbs up. The Warren 2 thumbs up. You don't like me, don't watch. And you want to leave negative comments on some other new and up-and-coming trolls channel, 2 thumbs up if that's your thing in life. But I don't have to allow that on my show. I don't allow certain things to happen. That's just the way I am. So people know that by now. Okay, so let's get back to this. Thank you. Jonathan, thank you, Scott. And I wouldn't even be upset if someone goes to her show and watches her show. I have no problem with that. If you want, it's entertainment to some degree. But me personally, I drew the line at allowing 3 strangers to criticize me after how much I've helped Chi in real life, in real issues. And she allowed that. So, no, that's not going to happen. I'm just not going to let it happen. I don't care if I lose 20 people that like Chi. I know there's a lot of people that'll go to both channels. 2 thumbs up. But I'm not going to allow that shit on my channel. Okay. Same here. Retracted about her because Mike is a real man with real comments and real issues. Subscribe to Glitzy Cheese, says Jack Thompson. Yeah, baby. Good for you. So, John, at the end, the truth hurts. That's true. So, now we're going to get back to my notes. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about a person who has brutally fat fingers. Okay. I'm talking brutally fat fingers, and the color of the nail polish on the brutally fat fingers is a very bright blue, like this, but much brighter. Now, Jack and I had a conversation about this morning. So one comment I'm going to make is that for 1 year and several months, I have not watched a Brutally Fat Fingers show. And I'll tell you why. Brutally Fat Fingers was asked for a piece of information from myself. And then she said she didn't have it, that piece of information. Then Warren Hunt, who was my friend and my partner, by the way, he asked Brutally Fat Fingers for the same piece of information. And the piece of information came back incomplete. It was a phone number with missing numbers, even though Brutally Fat Fingers said she was in contact with the person whose phone number we wanted. So I don't ask people for things twice, typically in real life. And this is real life. YouTube is fake and it's real. I don't typically ask people for things twice. I'm not used to it. I don't want to take the time to do it. If I ask you for something right from the get-go, it's a yes or no, and or with an explanation or without. That's your prerogative. But once the information came back to me, well, I don't have that number. Well, then I just blocked that person, because that person was making one video after another, that she was in constant communication on the phone with the person whose telephone number I asked for. So then Warren asked for the phone number, and three weeks to a month went by before we got the phone number. And by that time, I had the phone number from other people. So I had the real phone number. Now, the other guy from Texas, he did the same thing. He gave me an incomplete phone number with the middle digit missing, not the first or the last. So I blocked him too. Because if I ask you for something and you don't give it to me, then there's no reason for me to ask you twice. So Brutally Fat Fingers. Now let's get back to Brutally Fat Fingers and why she's going to be a premiere on today's show. We're just going to regulate the conversation to a woman who has brutally fat fingers, who paints them this strange ass dayglow blue, and says she doesn't run a drama channel, although it's been a year and several months since I went to Brutally Fat Fingers' show. In fact, when I blocked Brutally Fat Fingers from coming on my show or commenting on my videos, she asked why I did that, and I explained it to her. I asked you for a piece of information. You don't want to give it to me? Fine. That's up to you. But I don't need to be your friend, and you're not going to pretend to be my friend. That's how things work with me. So Brutally Fat Fingers on an up-and-coming blogger's show. And he's a blogger. Personally, I don't take him as serious as he thinks I take him, because he can't possibly hate everybody on YouTube. It's not really possible. I think he started the channel to build up subscribers based on the hate concept and brutalizing people in videos. But I don't think he has a lot of animosity towards a lot of people, except one particular person. I do feel the way he does his vlogs that he's pretty serious in what could be called satire or comedy, but it's actually sarcasm and pretty indirect hate speech towards one particular blogger, and that's not me. So I don't really care that he makes those videos. I would like, if he does make those videos, to get the story straight. When I got that man who had 4 children fired, it's because he was doing 20 minutes worth of work every 10 hours. Him and his partner was doing another 20 minutes worth of work every 10 hours. And there's nobody can make a living or earn any money as a contractor from 2 men doing 40 minutes worth of work total and paying them for 20 hours a day. And the owner of the building was a friend of mine. So that's his problem. They don't want to work. They want to work 20 minutes a day. Let them go into business for themselves. They could go out and get a job, work from 8 o'clock to 20 after 8 in the morning, the 2 of them, and they take the rest of the day off. So Brutally Fat Fingers, she called me the world's biggest e-beggar, or someone who is YouTube's biggest e-beggar. Now, when I run a legitimate scam, I tell you, you get nothing for your money except my content. And if you go to my Patreon page, you get content that's not on YouTube. All the bullshit that you hear on YouTube about, the only thing I have on my Patreon page on previous shows, now that's not true. And probably 95% of the shows on Patreon are off YouTube and have been off YouTube for between 5 and 8 years because they changed the rules 5 years ago. So that's bullshit. So Brutally Fat Fingers called me one of the biggest e-beggars on YouTube. Now that's funny because I'm going to give you this by the numbers for about Brutally Fat Fingers. Okay. So I'm going to read the notes. Brutally Fat Fingers. Guess whose e-begging well has dried up? So Brutally Fat Fingers, guess whose e-begging well has dried up? That's like the money well. That's gone. Never going to happen again. Come see today's show to find out. So I hope you're here. So let me tell you something, Brutally Fat Fingers. And now I'm going to tell people, all the people on the internet, how much money Brutally Fat Fingers e-begged from a friend of mine about 3 weeks ago. And I'm going to give the exact number. Now, if that man comes here and he wants to confirm it, he will confirm it. I have permission to do this, by the way, Brutally Fat Fingers. Don't think I'm going behind anybody's back because I don't do that. So Brutally Fat Fingers, I have to put my glasses on for this. I want to get these words right. Brutally Fat Fingers, guess whose e-begging well has dried up? ? Come see today's show and find out. You, Brutally Fat Fingers, calling me rich and apparently almost as rich as some of the foods that you might be eating, which have created your Brutally Fat Fingers to basically double in size since the last video I watched 14 months ago when I asked you for that phone number. I have noticed also a pattern in your vlogs. In each and every show that I remember from, let's just say 14 months ago, you always mention 4 or 5 of the same topics. I don't know why people ask you if you have gained weight. I have no idea why they've asked you that. But this is going back 14 months ago. Now it would be a different story. Now I could see that being a valid question. Because before that, I didn't know what you looked like. But now that I have a comparison, and a suggestion, maybe in order to make it look like you haven't gained weight, you could buy one of those fisheye lenses that Stanley Kubrick used to do the 2001 Space Odyssey. It captures the whole room, which would make you look smaller. I'm just saying. It's something that you should look into Because even on the show I watched that you made last week, people were asking you if you gained weight. I could see that. Now, those lenses cost $1 million, but that's 1960s technology. You might be able to get it at a discount. Oh, wait, you'd have to e-beg for that money. So let's get into, we're going to do this by the numbers, okay? By the numbers. Let's do this by the numbers. What I've noticed is, story about is that you, Brutally Fat Fingers, has an option, and I've never heard of this before, but apparently somewhere on the internet there's an option where people have to pay you privately to chat with you. And personally, I think that's a great idea. I like that idea. I mean, considering I run some of the world's best scams, I like the idea that people have to pay me privately. Oh, wait, they do. They become a member of my Patreon community, and if they have a question, I call them up on the phone. So, in theory, we do the same thing. We are in Visaya, we are Sangai, which means the same, Sangai. Except that you have a chat option where people have to pay you to chat you, and I have Patreon and or Super Chat. So, but you calling me an e-beggar, but you have a chat option. But that was a side issue. What we're going to talk about is the $1,000 that Brutally Fat Fingers begged for how many days to a friend of mine. And that's the next note, I think. So, number one, last week, you, Brutally Fat Fingers, which is 2 weeks ago now, last week, you, Brutally Fat Fingers, begged $1,000 from my good friend, which is his money, and he could do what he wants with it. And he gave you that money. So you calling me an e-beggar when my friend gives me 10 or 15 or $100 super chats, and you e-begging $1,000 at one shot from my friend and partner. That's a little bit like, where is that black pot? There it is, right here. That's like the pot, the black pot calling the kettle black. You calling me an e-beggar when I get $100 and you begged $1,000. Wait till you see what comment number 2 is. That's Rich. You calling me an e-beggar when I get $100 and you begged $1,000. And now we're going to talk about why you begged for $1,000. So we were having a conversation, my friend and partner and I, and he mentioned to me that you asked him for $1,000 and he gave it to you. And my question to him was, did Brutally Fat Fingers give you, my friend and partner, the piece of information that you requested from her 3 weeks ago? And my friend and partner looked at me and said, no, she did not. I said, well, why are you giving her money? And he told me that you gave him a legitimate reason, if it's true, and I don't know whether it's true or false. He told me you gave him a legitimate reason. And I said, well, okay, fine and well, good and dandy, that's great. But did she give you the piece of information that you requested? And he said, no. So, well, okay. And we dropped the topic. We just ended the topic. But only just a few hours later, you e-begged him again. Now, here's the best part of this story. For an additional $250. And we were talking while that was happening. And I said, did she give you the information yet? He said, no. I said, well, are you going to give her the money? And he said, no. Okay, that's reasonable. Which is the same thing that I just discussed with Chi, not coming on my channel because she disrespected me, basically. And that's okay. It's her channel. 2 thumbs up. So, when you he begged him again for $250. The second request, this is what Brutally Fat Fingers wanted the money for. She wanted $250 for a new outfit because apparently she has to go someplace and she needs a new outfit for this new gig that's up and coming. So that's number 2. Number 3, the e-begging well has dried up. That's number 3. Number 4, the next time you go for the gusto and or rubbing alcohol, aka an additional $250 for a new tent, T-E-N-T, a new tent to wear for your next gig, try to remember the following. A, alpha. Don't step on bloggers like myself that have not mentioned your name in 14 months, have never been on your channel ever, not even for 5 seconds in 14 months, have never responded to a comment by you on anybody's channel in 14 months, have never looked at one of your videos to see what you're up to, because I personally think your videos are worthless. But in 14 months, I never watched one. So these are the things you should remember. Don't step on another blogger like myself who's never mentioned you on an up-and-coming hate channel, so that you can have a little FaceTime on a hate channel, which you say that you hate people that run hate channels, and yet you're vlogging all over a hate channel about other vloggers that have done nothing to you in 14 months, never mentioned your name, never went to your videos, never commented on one of your videos. You don't have a single comment from me since I asked you for that piece of information and you denied it to me. So if you want to impress people who are building an up-and-coming drama / hate / satire channel, and you want to do so with someone that deserves maybe some of the diatribe and hate that you posted against me, being the world's biggest e-beggar. When in fact you begged $1,000, came back a few weeks later or 10 days later for an additional $250. But I'm going to tell you how you can get that new tent that you need to wear to your next gig, and how you can get it at a discount. Now, I don't know where you live. I don't know what state you live in, but here's what I suggest. Number 1, which is number 5, you can go into the garage that's full of whatever stuff that you have stored from years ago. I heard there was electronics. I won't watch the videos about it, but I heard you have a bunch of electronics and maybe amplifiers or something like that in the garage. Take some of that stuff out and do a garage sale and save up enough money to buy a new tent for you to wear for your next gig. But if you don't want to sell that stuff that's in the garage because of sentimental reasons, here's a better and even more better way. That's really bad English. More actually be more creative, a more creative endeavor to build your own tent. Here's what you do. In every big city, they have what is called the fabric district, or where they make clothes, garment. The garment district is called the New York City. But in the garment district, there's also companies that they sell what is called a bolt, a B-O-L-T, bolt of fabric. Now, a bolt of fabric could be, let me show you what a bolt of fabric looks like. Okay, just give me 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and I'm back. A bolt of fabric would look something like this. Okay, it would be a roll. This is a wrap of saran wrap. It's for commercial. If you want to bundle up some bricks or something like that, you could use it for food. It's sterile. But a bolt of fabric would look something like this, and they come in 2-foot widths like this, 1 yard, 1.5 yards, 1.3 yards, depends on the material and the country that the bolts come from. You go to the garment district, pick out the colors for the fabric that you want, and buy a couple of bolts of each fabric, and then go to a department store and buy a sewing machine and build your own tent, so you'll have fresh tents to wear to your next gigs. So if you think I'm kidding, no, I'm not kidding. I'm trying to make you understand that 3 things can happen. Number one, you won't have to e-beg somebody that's not giving you any more money. That would be a good thing, that you learn that. Number 2, you would learn how to sew. And number 3, you could do custom tents. And who knows, a couple of years from now, you could have your own tent company. Maybe if Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus comes back, you could build tents for them. Or you could just sell them your used tents. Because Brutally Fat Fingers, by the time Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus comes back in a couple of years, you'll be building tents about the size that they need for yourself, and you'll be able to sell them the used tents. That would be, so it's a win-win. It's a win-win. Now, I think I'm pretty much covered that topic. Oh, one more thing. Yeah, Brutally Fat Fingers. When I did watch probably 2 of your videos a year and a half, 14 months ago, I remember people asking you the same questions. Are you still drinking? And your answer was no. That's a good thing. They asked you, and I don't know why people do this because it's pretty insulting, but they asked you, do you still have anything other than helping people stop doing drugs? You have anything to do with drugs? And you always absolutely unequivocally denied it, and you help people get off of drugs. That's a really good thing. Okay. But they also mentioned to you, why are you always talking about everybody else's channel being a drama channel, which is what makes your channel being a drama channel? Why are you always talking about everybody else's channel being a drama channel? And in fact, you despise drama channels, and that in the videos I can remember, and in last week's video I watched, you said the same thing. I think I'm going to get off of YouTube. I hate this platform. It's nothing but drama. Well, you've threatened that in last week's video, and the videos from a year and 2 months ago. So you, who know that drama is probably not a good thing, might not be a bad thing, but you who know that, in the 3 videos that I can recall, you said, I hate drama, I hate the people that create drama, I hate making drama, and yet that's what you do. By talking shit about me on an up-and-coming drama channel, that I'm the world's biggest e-beggar, why do you mention my name at all? The other guy does it with the new up-and-coming drama channel. He does it because he's trying to build up a drama base. But 2 or 3 other people have built up a channel that way. I mean, that's one way of building up a channel. There's probably, if I remember, my Philippines experience, Gary Kennedy, I remember he said there was a book on how to build up your YouTube channel using drama. Is that the book you're using? Because that book is probably a valid way to build up a YouTube channel. But if you want to build up a YouTube channel properly, put some content on your channel that's worthwhile. Not putting makeup on when you're driving down the road and where, God forbid, you hit a pedestrian or a child or a woman with a carriage or another car and T-bone them and kill everybody in the car. That's not content. That's stupidity run wild. Putting makeup on, having coffee, doing your nails, while you're driving a car. That's not content. What I have on my channel is content. The video I posted yesterday about the construction site, that's content. The videos I have of my dad's tugboat at the World Trade Center, that's content. The videos I have of my crane barge and my cranes, my land cranes, my pile driving units, my backhoes, my bobcats, my drillers, that's content. Not some bullshit channel about talking about other people. That's not content, in my opinion. And I think that's it. I think I got to check to see if there's any more. So your channel doesn't have any content worth anybody giving you money for. People give me money on my Patreon account because I show them things of real life experiences in the Philippines, real life in the Philippines, real people talking to real people in the Philippines, real people doing real things in the Philippines. All you do is blah, 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 and you have a tendency to show your brutally fat fingers because you probably just got your nails done and spent $100 on that. And maybe you do your toes too, because what I've noticed is people with brutally fat fingers usually have a fetish about their toes and their fingernails looking fine. And your fingernails, whoever did it, did a nice job. But they are brutally fat. And it looks like they've doubled in width. Could be an optical illusion. Well, going back, get one of those wide angle lenses so you look smaller. Maybe you could even contact the movie studios that did 2001. Buy the original lens because we know that one works. Now, yep. Last comment here, number 8. Whatever the case, whatever your choice, whatever you do in life, understand this, that I was told the money well that you begged $1,000 from has dried up. And we're going to go on to our next topic. I'm not going to talk about that particular blogger right now because it would do no good. Man is not capable of comprehending reality. Okay, so we're going to talk about parallax. Parallax, Wikipedia, parallax. Parallax, we're going to talk about the flat earth. And this is a true story. Okay, so I'm going to go to the comments. I'm going to go, first, I don't even know if the live stream is still on. I haven't been back there. Yeah, it is. Okay. Good night, John Escape. Oh, we see that. Good night, John. Jack Thompson. Hey, Scott. Hey, John from Jack. Hello, Jack. All's well here. Racing went great so far in New York, back in Florida from Kentucky. Michael, and I argue, Jack Thompson says, Michael and I argue every day, but we still end our conversations with love. We've never had an argument. We have conversations, real life conversations between two men whose opinions differ on many things, but I don't discuss that on YouTube. Jack thinks that I would never mention the fact that I would never mention that. So anyway, no, Jack and I have real conversations between real men, and we laugh and we have no problem talking to each other the next time one of us communicates with one another. Thanks, Jack. John Escapes. I love to argue. It's what makes the world go round. Well, you can learn from arguing too, like brutally fat fingers, right? She got $1,000 from a friend of mine, just to digress for a minute, and he begged for another $250, but she was asked for a piece of information that she refused to give. Didn't respond to the request either. So she ignored the guy who gave her, the friend, my partner, who gave her the $1,000. She just ignored the request and then went ahead and asked for another $250. There's no respect there. No respect given, no respect returned. And you certainly got respected on my channel today because I could have went off on a completely different tangent. Believe me. You should super chat me for being so kind and considerate and amenable to your situation. Okay, Jack, going all right. Looking forward to a resolution. All right, John Escape is leaving. Thanks for stopping by, John. Scato Fuego, I'm getting frightened as Michael and another very hateful vlogger are starting to share enemies. LOL. Oh, no. It is true to some degree. It won't interfere with business, that's for sure. But there won't be any more interaction between the two people on our channels. It won't interfere with the business end, but it won't. I refuse to publicize someone who did what they did to me, but it won't interfere with our business. And if it does, that's her problem, not mine. I don't really care. I don't need her. That was a good point. I knew somebody would bring that up. And it's a valid point too. But I'm not going to let somebody come on my channel and advertise their channel when they disrespected me on their channel. Okay? Now, I've had people come up to me that didn't talk to me, not for any reason, but they just, were people that kept to themselves. I said, look, Mike, I want you to build my deck, but I don't want to talk to you when you're building the deck. I want you to give me a price, and I just want you to build the deck. They didn't, because some people would invite me into the house for dinner and lunches and stuff like that. They just wanted to keep it all business. That's good. And I had a fella say to me, I don't want to be your friend. I want you to build my deck. And I gave him a price, told him $12,500. And he walked out of the yard, and wherever he went, he came back about 15 minutes later and gave me $12,500. I didn't even write up a contract for him. I said, I don't even have a contract. He goes, doesn't matter. I know you. You're an honest man. Just build what you said you were going to build. His boat was there, and I already had all the measurements on a sketch sheet, and that's the way we do business. So business is business, pleasure is pleasure. There is no more pleasure between Chi Corsairs and myself for her allowing 3 worthless commenters on her channel abuse me, but business can continue as much as we need to conduct business. We're going to conduct business, but friendship is gone. That's the difference. Michael's Patreon videos are real content. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. All right, so I see some new name. Whoa, new name. Thank you. Up, get the pot, bang a lot, make the pot work. See you all again. Jack Thompson gives muscles. Eric Von Zipper, respect is a rare thing nowadays. And I demand respect from a person I've given so much to disrespect me like that. We're done. It doesn't even happen twice in my life. I do business. In fact, I'm going to be doing business, Eric Von Zipper. I'm going to tell you something. The possibility exists for me to be doing business with someone in the near distant future who we've been friends for 7 years, but just at a distance. And I won't say why, but we both have our reasons as to why we always give each other a nod, but we're not close friends. But I put out a piece of information that I was interested in working with that man to do a particular thing. And it's a big thing. And he wants me to do that thing with him. So and when we greeted each other in the street, not about 3 weeks ago, when we greeted each other in the street, we were buddy, because even though we're not close friends, and even though we've known each other for 6 years, we both want to do business with each other. And we both greeted each other with a smile and a handshake and how you been. Business and pleasure sometimes mix. So this is an opportunity for all involved to be happy. So now we remember what happened years ago, not something that anybody would ever forget, but we never let it get between us where we didn't say hello to each other, but we just were not real good friends. But now we're going to have dinner together, and business is business, pleasure is pleasure. So Eric Von Zip, a good point. You made a good point on the last show too. Let's see. We have a new guy here to help. He was here last week too. Just keep an eye on him, please. Here to help. Hello, Mr. Fazio, and all the gang. There is a gang here too. Michaels, Pat, thank you, here to help, whoever you might be. I suggest you, if you want to be part of the gang here to help, Patreon is the way to go. Not kidding. So, Michael's Patreon videos are real content. Thank you, Jack Thompson. We're going to ring the bell, the money bell, and I'm going to talk about the up-and-coming, not so famous or infamous blogger a little bit in a minute or so. That his channel has no content on it either. It's just rhetoric, satire, hate speech, comedy, and bullshit. Okay, so I won't get involved with that much more than what I just said, other than the fact that if you really want to build up a channel, put some real content on it. Like, I don't know, whatever your hobbies are, whatever your hobbies might be. Maybe you're a botanist and you have a beautiful grow room, and maybe you have some sort of athletic thing that you do. You hike in the mountains, because where you live there might be mountains. Maybe you have some sort of other thing that you do that you might want to share, so that people know that you're just not coming onto YouTube to create drama, hate speech, satire, and or comedy. And they'll say, well, the guy has some substance to him. But right now, I don't think you'll go very far very fast with no content. And that's how most people build up their channel. Gary Kennedy from the Philippines Experience, he has a beautiful girlfriend. They go places, they hike mountains, they do zip lines, they move around. The Hapsters move around the island of Hawaii. They go to the malls, they go to the beaches, they go to the forest. You get these other guys that just sit in a room all day, have no content on their channel. They expect you to give them money. For what reason do I give you money? So, Jack Thompson, the little fella's about to lie about a couple of things, so stay tuned. Salama, real content, baby. Real content. Now, another thing that you won't catch me doing is lying. So in yesterday's live stream, I told you I was friends with the New York City Department of Environmental Protection Agency since I was 7 years old. That's true. If someone were to do a lot of research, be easy enough to ask a few questions, find out that's true. There's no bullshit on my channel. Thank you. All right, so now we have Jack Thompson, big super chat there, $3.99. Thank you very much. The Bob Cartel. Bob Cartel, this is why I never make a channel on YouTube. Eventually, everyone turn on each other, as history shows. That's probably true, Bob. That's a good point. I did not. I gave constructive criticism where it was needed, and I was rejected. I won't do it twice. That's for sure. But the person doesn't have to take my criticism. I'm not her mother or father. I'm not her caretaker, not a friend anymore. We'll do business, but I'm not a friend anymore. And she allowed, see, this is the difference between me and the woman. Okay, she allowed total strangers to criticize me after I've been her friend for a year and a half. Good friend. That she shouldn't have did that. If she's not intelligent enough to understand that she broke a bond of friendship, that's not my problem. Just so that she could get views, that's not my problem either. I don't care about views, not one bit. I have 19 people watching. YouTube has decimated my view counts because of my political truths that I've posted over the years about the great state of Israel, Mr. Obama, and all the other bullshit that they proliferate on YouTube. I don't really care about views. So do people, yeah, I guess you could call it, but I did not start it. And I told everybody the truth what happened, Barb. So if that's a problem, that's their problem, not my problem. Anybody can go back to the live stream on Chi Corsair Show, see the comments that I left, and listen to the rhetoric that I had to put up with. And then, if you'll notice, I just left the show without saying a word. Not my show. She can run the show any way she wants. Personally, I may never go back to her show. And she's not ever going to be allowed to say, people come and watch my show. My personal opinion about her show, I've kept to myself. I go there because we were friends and to give her the view hours, not because of the content on the show. If I had to worry about what was on the show for content, I'd come up with a big zero 99% of the time. So Bob Cartel, good point. Very good point. That's how life on YouTube can be, but it doesn't have to be like that. Jack Thompson, traveled 12 hours in an attempt to purchase a great piece of property, only to get outbid. But, Jack and I had this conversation this morning. Jack told me about the 4 acres of property that he wanted to go buy. It had a beautiful little house on it, but it was the value of the property itself that Jack was after. Jack told me about the price and the money he was willing to spend on the property. He gave me all that information, and I said, look on the bright side. And Jack said, what bright side is there? I just spent 12 hours traveling to this piece of property with a check for $189,000. And I got outbid by $30,000. The bright side, there's always a bright side, Jack. The bright side is that you have $189,000 that you don't know what to do with. Money, 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 money. You have several email addresses. You can go to my Patreon page with that $189,000 and start several Patreon accounts at like the $50 or $100 level until you're satisfied that the money has dropped to a reasonable amount of money. I mean, if that money was burning a hole in your pocket, you needed to buy some property with it. I don't want it to, I don't want it to burden you. I'm trying to help you, you know that. And so the bright side is you have $189,000 extra dollars, and I am willing to help you relieve the pressure. Thank you. Well, more super chat. Scalpo Fuego for $5.24 covers the tax. Oh yeah, by the way, to that blogger out there that has a channel that doesn't have a tax number, the guy with the super chat button on his channel, I'm going to report you. By the way, money, 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 money. Oh, thank you, Jack Thompson. Just remember, 189. Michael Fazio and 189,000. They go together like giant balls on female dogs. Female, FLEAMALE. Giant balls and female dogs go together like $189,000. And Michael Fazio. Money, 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 money. Giant female balls. Oh my God. And we're going to talk about that in a minute too. So, Scott Del Fuego. Yep, I know Scott's serious. I am mentally broken. I cannot watch without super chatting. This is a purposeful brainwash. Help me before I super chat again. I will just take your super chat button away from you. Abracadabra. Little fella, come on over here. Remove the super chat button from Scott Del Fuego's finger. You are now banned from the super chat button, Scott Del Fuego. Wordsmithing aside, stick to the wordsmithing. Polyhogue, which means please in Visaya. Thank you very much, Scott. Scott, it's contagious. It's like a pandemic, says Jack Thompson. I mostly super chat while driving drunk, and that's a good thing. The Wrinkle Man from Germany is trying to be YouTube famous. That's true. And I've watched his vlogs. I've watched them all. I gave you probably more thumbs up than you could imagine on both of your shows, by the way. And I only know for a fact that you're running one show, but it sure seems to me that from the comments you made to Gary Kennedy that you've been a troll for 4 years and you've been blocked from everybody's channel. So that gives 4 years and opportunity to copy everybody's videos. So if it's you that's posting the videos on the other channel, those mostly get thumbs down, but your vlogs get thumbs up. And most of the comments I don't pay much attention to because they're not real YouTubers, they're just names. But the one that I talked about, Brutally Fat Fingers, she has no business talking about me. I have mentioned her name. Her name has not come up in my lexicon for a year and 2 months. Not once. It doesn't come up between my friend and my partner. It doesn't come up in my video vlogs. It doesn't come up in chat windows. It doesn't come up in chat conversations. She should have just left well enough alone. As no pun intended, but the well dried up. Thank you. Scott, it's contagious like the pandemic. Jack Thompson, I mostly super chat while driving drunk. And Jack Thompson says, the Wrinkle Man from Germany is trying to be a YouTube famous. Yeah, he's going to build up a certain amount of vloggers like that, and then you remember what happened to the last 3 people that tried that. How long did it take? Well, I'm not sure that, I don't watch Barry Jordan's channel, but I don't know if he has 1,000 subscribers or not, but he's been blogging for years. And the other guys that tried to build up a hate channel took a really long time to get 1,000 subscribers, if that's what he's going for super chat. I don't know. He might not need super chat, but to build up a channel on hate and drama, you can have some drama and coarse words in your videos, but you can't do that every day, really. That doesn't work. Okay, the white wrinkle. Jack Thompson, LOL, super chat under the influence. Under the influence. Oh my God, those are technical terms with you're coming with me, boy. All right. Oh, more super chat. More glue for the fingers. Oh my God. 6+ years of support. Never turned on him. Never been a fence jumper or # fence jumper. Fence jumper is a term that another famous YouTuber uses when someone goes to somebody else's channel. Now, if you'll notice, I'm just going to use these 2 examples. At no point 3 examples. At no point did I say do not go to any of the 3 people who I made reference to, because I don't care what you do. At no point did I say don't give them a thumbs up, and even I give them a thumbs up, even though I didn't like videos from the 2 of the 3 channels that I just mentioned indirectly. I still give them a thumbs up because at least they're trying. But one of them, I'm not going to do that anymore. I won't give them a thumbs down either. But the guy, if I see something that's interesting, I might give him a thumbs up, but the girl, probably not. But I won't give them a thumbs down. So, and I'm not going to say don't go to their channel. And I'm not going to say don't give them super chat. And I'm not going to say all that shit, because that's not my business. It's not my business. They can make it on their own. Here's the 3 things that none of them have going for them. None of them have a single piece of content worth watching. That's my opinion. None of them really have a personality to go along with their worthless content. And one of them is not even capable of making content that I would be interested in. At least the guy in Germany, I can relate to the sarcasm to some small degree. I could relate to the sarcasm more if it was true, but a lot of the sarcasm is not true. So sarcasm in and of itself could be humor, but humor without truth is probably not something that I would enjoy. So sarcasm, like for instance, I said brutally fat fingers. I think that's funny. If you don't think it's funny, I think it's funny. In fact, I think it's really funny, because without saying what I wanted to say, I said exactly what I wanted to say. And the fisheye lens thing, that's content. That's activity. That's using skill sets to say what you want to say without saying what you want to say. George Carlin was famous for that. Now, moving on. Thank you, Jack. So, Bob Cartel says, I understand you are just trying to stay true to your morals. That's all. Bob, if you follower of mine for many years, some people 10 years, 222 Fox 1 has been following me since the very first day. Thomas Grube, Jack Thompson, Warren Hunt. A lot of people have been following me for 10 years. They know that I have content. I have thousands of videos of my construction sites, the men that work for me, the things I build, the things I design, the things that I order, the things that I owned, the toys, the houses I own, things like that. That's content. Not one of the other 3 people have any content. They don't own anything that you can verifiably see. They can't show anything they've done in the past that would earn them any respect in the real world. Now, maybe the guy in Germany has a good job. I don't know. And he has a nice house, that's for sure. So maybe he does do something that earns him some respect in real life and doesn't show it on YouTube, and maybe that's a good thing. But from what I see, I would like to see more of what the guy or all 3 of them do that should earn people respect to come to their channel and watch their content, besides hate speech. So that's cool to do that. You don't want to show your house, or show a little bit of his house, but if you don't want to show your job, I think that's a good thing. But if you want to earn the respect of people, you're gonna have to show them something that you've done that they can give you the respect that you want. Just coming to some insane concept that, for instance, that I got some guy fired during the pandemic. I didn't get that guy fired in the last 6 months. I got him fired 4 years ago, and I would fire him today or tomorrow, and I I could tell you right now, the guy's not worked 100 days in 4 years. Not because of me, but because nobody will hire the guy. I did see him on a job about 5 months ago. I even videotaped him on the job. That's on Patreon. I don't put personal shit on YouTube. Some personal shit. So he was on that job. He had a job. I walked to a certain location just as an exercise. He had a job that was already a year old, and he got onto the crew to do some really heavy bull work. Okay, man, this guy could be the best worker on the job if he wanted to. And I've seen him be the best worker on a job 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But he lasted, he wasn't there 2 weeks that I know of. And that was the last time he worked, and that was 4 months ago. So it's not just me that wouldn't hire him, it's everybody. And it's the same pattern. He gets on the job and then he becomes a slacker. And no one likes that. You know, if there's going to be a boss, the boss is the boss. But he wants to come on the job and take over, telling people what to do, and he really doesn't have the skill set to be in charge. But basically, he designates all the hard jobs to everybody else, and he gives himself the easiest job. They were bucketing thousands of buckets of cement, and he took the only position in the line where he didn't have to make a step. Everybody else had to make 3 or 4 steps, or hand up the cement, or hand down the cement. Or he took the only position in line that didn't have to make a step. Now, that's a smart thing, but guys don't like that. You know, your other construction workers. And I as a contractor, I know what he did. I watched him do it. Okay, buy bricks. Buy some bricks with, whoa, Jack Thompson is slowly depleting that $189,000. Pretty soon, we're going to have to get a new pot to bang. Oh, I will mention the guy in Germany again. Just let me give a shot. More glue for the Scots fingers. Jack, that $189,000. It's going to take forever to go through making multiple Patreon accounts with multiple emails and stuff. Let me just give you my bank information and we'll do a transfer. And this way, you don't have to go back and forth to Western Union and pay the credit card bill, stuff like that. $189,000, you don't need $189,000. You know I love you, Jack, and we're only having fun here. So let me talk to you about the guy in Germany. Let's see, where were we? We didn't get to the flat Earth yet. We're going to get to the flat Earth. I had something it was really interesting that I wanted to say. The pot. The guy in Germany. You want to see somebody bang a pot incorrectly? I never seen anybody screw up banging up. Well, yeah, I did, but I think he's a contender for the worst screw up with putting a pot on his head and banging a pot. Number one, his pot is not big enough to fit over his head. Number two, he don't know how to bang a pot. He bangs a pot with a whip, an egg whipper. You need something of sustenance to bang a pot. And number three, to the guy in Germany. Let me give you a little hint here. When you bang a pot and you make a lot, what I want you to see, you see the money sign there? You don't have any symbols on your pot, number one. That's not a good way to bang a pot. A symbolless pot is usually no money pot. Okay, that's one. Number two, when you bang a pot and you put it on your head, you don't get much of a sound out of it. See, I'm teaching you how to bang a pot to make a lot. Number two. Number three, when you bang the pot, do not flinch your eyes. You close your eyes sometimes. The whip maybe it causes air to hit your hair that hits your eyelashes. I don't know. But when you're banging a pot, try to look them right in the eye and say, money, 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 money. Try to do it like that, you know. And if you're here and you want to super chat me, I got to tell you, I never blocked you. I know you think I blocked you, and I'm going to tell you something else. The guy in Germany, tell you something else. I have never pushed the thumbs down on your videos, except if it was a lie about me, like where I fired that guy during the pandemic, and I actually got him fired. He didn't work for me 4 years ago because he was a screw-up. That's a lie. You got a thumbs down for that. Number two, if you don't know how to bang a pot, you're never going to make a lot. And if you don't care about making a lot, why bang a pot? Number two. And number three, don't flinch when you bang the pot. When you go like that, it shows that you it's just not the right way to bang a pot. I mean, everybody knows this. As Elliot Gould said in the movie with Las Vegas, everybody knows this. I forgot the name of the movie. Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 12. More glue for Scott's fingers. You're done, Jack. You're done donating for the day. Thank you very much. Really, seriously. Let's get that. We'll get that bank transfer thing going, and then you don't have to stay up late at night. Kaboom, Scott says. Kapow, kaboom. Eric Von Zipper. So many channels I don't know about. There's lots of channels. We're going to talk about the flat earth, because the earth is flat. And I know that people think I'm kidding, but I'm not. So many channels I don't know about. Jack, I got a private pot banging on the phone this morning. He did. I banged that pot because I could go over it. Jack had a $189,000 check for the property, right? But he lost the property. So Jack has an additional $189,000 that he doesn't know what to do with. I could help him with that. I could help him with that. Jack, don't with friends. How many times did you go out with your friends and they stuck you with the bill? I'm here to help. Eric Von Zipper, Scott and Jack are Pion donators. Oh, Simulacron. Mine is dynamically more. Oh my God, dynamically more. Simulacron. Now, here's a person. We're going to bang a little bit. Come on over here, little fella. All right, come on over here. Digger. This guy's real name is Digger One. Simulacron. Salama. Thank you very much. Thank you. Simulacron. Salamat. We gave him the big shout out. Simulacron has been following me for minimum of 7 years, 8 years. And you can ask Simulacron, because he's not a regular in the comment section. Ask Simulacron how many times Michael Fazio has been caught in a lie. Like where I said I got that guy fired 6 years ago. That's true. 4 years ago. But he was working on the job from 6 years ago. So but I did not get him fired 3 or 4 months ago during the pandemic. But if he was working like that on a job, I'd still fire him or get him fired. I don't care if a man is coming to work to do a day's work, then let him do the day's work and earn his pay. Jack Thompson says there's two types of people in this world. People that collect the check, walk up and get the check, and people that write the check. Okay, I'm the guy that's always written the checks in my life. That guy is the kind of guy that collects the check. And we need people that collect checks for the people that write the checks. We need people like that. But we don't need people to write the checks to that are not going to do the job that they're getting paid for. Nobody deserves that. So ask Simulacron if he's ever caught me in a lie on anything, on any topic, on any venue, about anything. on any video for 10 years that I've made. Ask him. So I'm not lying about when I got the guy fired or why. But I don't appreciate other people putting that crap on the internet as such. So you get a thumbs down. That's all I could do. Really, that's all I could do. Now, the wrinkled guy from Germany is my new favorite dude. Think he's hilarious, says Jack Thompson. Some of the stuff he posts is a little derogatory. Some of it's very derogatory. His facial features are humorous. You can see when he's saying something and it's not true because his eyes wrinkle up a little bit. But you can also see when he doesn't like somebody seriously, how his facial expression changes. I won't tell you much more than that, but in some respects he's funny. But going after somebody like Honeycomb is not called for. I got to tell you, that's probably not a good thing to do, but that's up to you. You're welcome to do so. It's your channel. It's your channel, guy in Germany. You do what you want. But try to keep, if you're going to do satire or sarcasm, keep it true, what you say. You don't do that. That's the sad part. That's why your channel will never grow to anything successful, because you don't know how to do realistic and truisms in sarcasm and satire. You want to learn from the people that do it well. There's a few things on YouTube that got banged more than Fazio's pot, and that, my friend, is the inside scoop on the truth. Thank you. So Simulacron came up with an answer. Simulacron, thank you again for the super chat. Simulacron came up with an answer of zero times Simulacron has caught me lying about something. So did he listen to every word in every video? I don't know that, but if I said something on YouTube, you could pretty much go to the bank with that. And talking about the bank, Jack. So no, just kidding. But thank you, Simulacron. Thank you. Some men sign the back of a check, real men sign the front of the check. That's the saying, right? Okay. Some men sign the back. Some men, my boss, Joe, when I worked for Web Corporation, Joe said some men back up to the check on payday and some men walk up face to face. I like that. I like that as saying too. So Scott the Fuego says lots of crooked noses put on guys on jobs to collect the checks that never showed up to earned some RICO time for some. So yeah, now I'll give you an idea what that's called, Scott the Fuego, in the construction industry. Well, they're no-show jobs, but they're also called featherbed jobs. So I'm going to name real names now because this is true story. So let me get the name. All right, so John Ruggiero from the Ruggiero family of Long Island. John Ruggiero and I and his dad and mom and sisters and brothers, we all grew up together. So John Ruggiero's father was pretty much a big guy, and my dad operated the tugboat for a job in different places. So on some jobs, the union calls for what we call an oiler or an engineer to start the motors. Okay, so the engineer has to be on the job at half hour before the job starts. But the engineer job is a featherbed job. Now, but it's not supposed to be a featherbed job. It's supposed to be, whatever the job is, 8 or 10 hours a day. So John Ruggiero Jr., let's get this straight, not the father. The father doesn't work. So John Ruggiero Jr. was the engineer that was supposed to start certain motors on a job, on a barge that was anchored offshore. So if he doesn't start the motors, theoretically the job can't start. The union has a rule that the engineer has to start the engines. So the job starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. The tugboat leaves the dock at 6:30. And John Ruggiero had trouble getting up on time to get to work. So theoretically, the union men that are brought out to the dredge, that in that case it was a pump dredge, they couldn't start. It was in Mamaroneck, New York. We were digging a trench for a tunnel. The septic water drainage pipe that went offshore from Mamaroneck sewage treatment plant. So he couldn't get to work on time. And that means that the engines on the dredge can't start up. So that would mean everybody has to wait on shore for John Ruggiero Jr. to get to work. So there's maybe 23 men on the tugboat making $39 an hour, $40 an hour. So that's $800 an hour. It's costing the company for the men to sit there to wait for him to get out of bed. And sometimes he never even showed up. So that's like $14 a minute for every minute that he was late. So my dad would just leave the dock at 6:30. He didn't give a shit. And what would happen then is that somebody else would start the motors. But if we're talking about $1 million engines, or $500,000 engines. So if John didn't start the motor, the job of the oiler is to check the oil, check the filters, check the belts, check the whatever needs to be checked, check for leaks. So, but the guys that were out on the dredge, they just would start the motor. They're not checking oil. They're dredge hands, they're deck hands. They could check the oil, but that's not their job. So one day they started up. It wasn't a 1,600 cubic foot compressor. It was an Ingersoll ran, I think it was a 1,200. And then it's 1,200 cubic feet per minute. And what happened is when the machine gets low on oil, the machine shuts off because of a calibrated sensor switch in the machine. So John Ruggiero Jr. didn't show up for a couple of days, and no one checked the oil, and the calibration switch was broke, and it caused a lot of engine damage. So he got in trouble for that. But theoretically, all he had to do was come and check the oil and turn the engine on. And then for the rest of the day, he had to sit on a chair or walk around because he can't do work. He's not a deckhand. He's not a dock builder. We wouldn't let him do work. So, and then until 11:59, he shuts the motors off, and then we eat lunch, and at 12:30 we go back. And in the interim, he checks the oil and adds oil. But if he didn't show up at the dock, my dad wouldn't go back to the dock to pick him up. He'd lose the day's pay. And he got pissed off about that. It was so the union eventually said to him, look, if you're getting pissed off, he's causing a lot of problems here, just quit. We'll get somebody else to go out and check the dipstick and push the button, and at 12 o'clock pull the switch, and at 12:30 at 12 o'clock put some oil in the engine, push the button again at 1 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock shut the engines off, 3 o'clock. Okay, so they didn't want to hear any of his shit, because this guy is making $60 an hour for 8 hours a day, 500 a day, theoretically, 480. He's making $1,900 a week for a 5-day job, 8 hours a day. And he couldn't show up for work. That's a featherbed job, they call it. And the union is perfectly okay with that. They give their nephews, their sons, their nieces, their cousins, their fathers, they give them jobs to that people. but they're no-show jobs and they're featherbed jobs. And that's what he had. I never had one of those. I wouldn't even want one of those. Yeah, that's the way it was. Tony 2002. Wait, take double T Tony 2002. Tony's from New York. Thanks for stopping by. Choo Choo Charlie was an engineer. That's right, baby. So now we're going to talk about the bottom of the flat earth and the top of the bottom of the flat earth. And this is content. You like it, you don't like it. I am explaining to you in the next few minutes that in all of history, including the Bible and the Quran, no religion, no theological studies, no ancient mystery of Babylon empires, nobody in all of history until around 500 years ago ever said the earth was round. Everybody knew it was flat. Everybody knew the earth was flat. Nobody in all of recorded history ever said the earth was round. So this is, in conspiracy theories, you have been hoodwinked, you have been bamboozled, you have been lied to by every so-called authority in all of the last 500 years history. There's no proof at all that the earth is a spinning ball. There's no proof at all that the earth spins around the sun or the sun spins around the earth. There's no proof at all that the moon rotates. There's nothing, zero. There never was. They made it all up. So there's not one single photo from the Hubble Space Telescope is real. It's all CGI. You can look, ask NASA. Go to Google CGI photographs from NASA. Every photograph of every star constellation, every space in the universe that's pictured and photographed, there's not, it's all CGI. Okay, so moving past that. So the earth is supposed to spin around at 1,038 miles per hour. There's no proof of that. None. There's no Coriolis effect when you shoot a bullet or a cannonball or a ship shoots a shell. There's nothing that proves the earth is flat. Nothing that proves the earth is spinning. Everything says the earth is flat. If the earth is spinning around at 1,038 miles an hour, theoretically, a plane traveling at 600 miles an hour should be at its destination in minutes if it's going against the Earth's rotation. It's the first thing that you learned when you learned geometry and algebra. It's the first example they give you. If you are walking forward on a train and you are traveling in a forward direction, how fast are you moving? So you're moving at the miles per hour or kilometers per hour of the train plus your foot speed. And if you walk towards the back of the train, you subtract that number. It's the same thing with an airplane. So they come up with this magical Velcro. They come up with this magical Velcro theory that the atmosphere sticks somehow to the earth. It's just a lie. There's nothing that proves the earth is round or moves. Every story that relates to how the earth is built in the Bible and the Quran says the earth is stationary and God set the earth upon pillars and the deep. And that's all in my book, Angels on the Ark, about the deep and the earth being set on pillars. You people want to believe what you want to believe. That's okay. So I have a little bit. Now, scientists, for thousands of years, 10,000 years, the Aztecs, the Mayans, they knew the earth didn't move. And they made accurate descriptions of the star charts from as far back as 40,000 years ago. So if the earth was spinning at 1,038 miles an hour around the sun, and if the sun was spinning around the universe at 68 million miles per hour, and if the universe was moving at 152 million miles an hour, and so on and so forth, because they say it's a giant spiraling action, well, the position of the stars would have changed daily, monthly, yearly, and certainly over the last 20,000 years where the star charts are accurate, but they don't. So that measurement is called parallax. Parallax. I'll copy and paste it. Parallax. That's right, Scott. We're going to get into the anti-gravity boots in a minute. That's why I invented the bottom of the top of the bottom of the flat earth. So we're going to talk about the word parallax, and it's a Wikipedia definition. Parallax, let me write the, let me see if I can get this. I think I could do this. Parallax, review, words, 271, that's too many. Okay, we can do this. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so parallax, I'm going to copy and paste it. The parallax is how you determine how far the stars have moved since the previous measurement, if they've moved at all. So, as a pilot, we had to learn navigation, map, how to minutes and seconds and what they mean. And as a captain, you have to learn navigation, which is basically the same thing as flight navigation and water navigation or ocean navigation or lake navigation. It's the same thing. The formulas are identical. But there's another way to determine where you are, and that will tell you where you are in minutes and seconds and lats and longs on the map. And where you are can be determined by using a sextant. So that measures distances of things. Like the correct measurement for the distance between the sun and the earth and the moon and the earth is approximately 3,200 miles. That's how far the earth is from the sun and the moon is from the sun. Although you hear that the sun is 93 million miles, you hear that the sun is 867,000 miles across, and you hear that the moon is 2,500 miles in diameter. It's all bullshit. None of it's true. So if the earth and the stars and the rotation of the earth were moving, let me get an example here. All right. Okay, so here, if this is a tube, let's call this a tube. Okay, now and let's say that this tube is perfectly vertical this way and vertical this way. So it's plumb, P-L-U-M-B, plumb. So if you look from the bottom of this tube straight up, you would see a star let's just say you picked out a star. So on on September 11th, you picked out a star or a star system or a series of 3 or 4 stars, whatever you chose. If all the universe was spinning around in a spiral, it would be gone in a matter of just a few seconds. But it doesn't work like that. And you come back next September 11th and you look up through this tube, you should not see the same 2 or 3 stars that you picked out. It can't be, because the universe has changed. It's expanded, it's rotated, and it's moved in one direction, away from the big Y, the Big Bang. You wouldn't be able to see the same star system. But yet, every year, on the same time of the year, every day, the same star system exists at the same time of the day. That's not possible. Now, if you take 2 of these tubes, then you'll know how far the Earth rotated, but it doesn't rotate. So that's called the parallax. And the stars move, the stars rotate, but the Earth doesn't move. So, and you can know this by looking up the rotation of the stars and what is called the North Star. The North Star always stays not at true north, but close to true north. Not at magnetic north either, but close to the North Pole. And the North Star stays fixed. It's the fixed star. And all the other stars rotate. So if you take a time-lapse photo, you see them spinning around like a record on a turntable, but the Earth doesn't move. There's so many proofs of this. So for 50,000 years, that's how long these star charts have been reviewed, the Earth was flat. It was not until the Vatican, and here's part of the title, became in charge of the ball, the globular Earth theory, that the Earth became a ball. Not until the Vatican was taken over by what we call the Illuminati or the Masons, and all of the people that were involved with saying that the Earth was a ball spinning through space. Copernicus, Newton, Galileo, they were all Masons. The same way the NASA astronauts are all Masons. In the same way, nobody's ever gone to the moon because there is no place to go. So, in theory, the Earth is moving around the sun at 32 times the speed of a rifle bullet. So it's 40,000 feet a second. But there's no proof by wind or what is called the Coriolis effect. There's no proof that that's happening. There is no proof. Doesn't exist. So I want to go back to as Jack says, the wrinkle guy in Germany. I don't know that he's running 2 channels, but one of them is off the chains. Warren and I, we notified the authorities about the 2nd channel. So I can't say that he's running it, but I would say that he's a candidate there could be 5 or 6 people that might be running that 2nd channel with a real blogger's name, but I don't think it's him either. But somebody's running a troll channel, I think, and it could be the wrinkle guy from Germany, but it could be a lot of other people. So I know he thought I was going to come on here and blame him for all kinds of shit, but I can't blame him because I don't know. I know that his channel is run by him because he puts his face in now, but I don't know about the other channel, even though the other channel is putting the wrinkle guy from Germany's face on the other channel, I can't say that it's the wrinkle guy from Germany that's running the channel. So I can't, I don't have that kind of skill set to figure out. I don't even want to do that. But there are people that both channels are pissing off. So not so much everybody. Some people think it's like the new hate channel and it's funny, and some people don't. So I copied the two hate channels that need to be addressed. The wrinkle guy from Germany and the guy or woman, whoever's running the second channel that's putting up others' videos, and the wrinkle guy from Germany's videos. I don't necessarily think I don't necessarily think I know, but I mean, if there was a top 20 candidates, I put the wrinkle guy from Germany in the top 20 for sure. But the fact to name that guy as a fact that he's building that channel up, the second channel, I wish I knew. So the good fellow, now we're going to go to the good fellows on the bottom of the flat earth, which is being run like, now there is a bottom of the flat earth, and I should be offered a large sum of money for that concept. I created the concept. I created the scenario of the bottom of the flat earth. I created the characters on the bottom of the flat earth. So theoretically, somebody should be offering me a lot of money. Doesn't necessarily have to be $178,000. It could be less. It could be more. You could go into debt for more, or save some for a rainy day, or, just give it to me softly and slowly. So the good fellows on the bottom of the flat earth have a very powerful overlord. And so let me tell you who runs the bottom of the flat earth, because although you people think I'm kidding about the earth being flat, I'm not. You cannot prove the earth is moving. You cannot prove the earth is moving around the sun. You can't prove that the earth is a ball. You can't prove any of it. No one's ever proven, no one has ever proven that any astronaut has ever set foot on the moon either. That's all done with like a parabolic reflector. The aircraft go up at like a 45-degree angle, and when they reach the top of their flight ceiling, it's called the ceiling, they start going down, and then there's like zero gravity, because people are floating through space. They're basically like parachutists, but they're floating inside the ship. They're not falling in the ship. That's how what looks to be them floating in space happens. It doesn't happen any other way. There's reasons for that. There's a lot of stuff that I go into that I fluff over how I come to these conclusions. First of all, I've watched enough videos to know that what I say to you is true. But why does gravity stop with the atmosphere at 100,000 or at 100 miles? Why should it stop? Why? I mean, why, if the moon affects the oceans, which is bullshit, but no, it does affect the oceans. But why does it affect the oceans and not lakes, no matter how big the lakes are, even though lakes are bigger than some oceans? Why doesn't it, if you get the big lake, the Great Lakes, Lake Superior, and on a calm day where there's no wind and it's a full moon, one side of the lake is not going to be any higher or lower than the other side, and yet the tides will differentiate in the height from wherever they are. Right now, for instance, it may be high tide at 12 o'clock, but 20 miles away, it may not be high tide. It may be an upcoming tide or an outgoing tide, and there might be 2 foot difference in the height of the water. Then when there's a moon, the tide might come up higher, but and because the moon affects the water, but it doesn't affect any freshwater waterways. But to also prove that the Earth is flat, the Amazon River runs for several thousand miles. Okay, so from the mouth or the beginning of the Amazon River is here, and this is real. So the beginning of the Amazon River is right here. Let's just say this level right here is the beginning of the Amazon River. The end of the Amazon River, if you were to shoot a line from the beginning to the end, is only 1 foot lower than the beginning. So for several thousand miles, water only drops 1 foot in level. That means the Earth is flat, because over several thousand miles, in order for the Amazon River to get from here to here, it would have to go uphill for 2,000 miles or several thousand feet. It's not like the Amazon River starts at 20,000 feet and flows around and around the ball. It doesn't do that. It flows flat for several thousand miles. I think it's 3,800 miles or 3,200 miles. So it would have to travel up 6,000 feet high and then drop down. But it doesn't do that. If you shoot a line or you fly over it level, it's only a 1 foot difference from the beginning to the end. They don't tell you this because they're lying to you. They're liars, liar, 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 liar. And that's the President of the United States. That's the Vatican. That's NASA. That's the Club of Rome. That's everybody. Newton, Galileo. They all lied to you. They all made up these theories. And the only astronauts that ever get really picked for the space program are all Masons. And there's a reason for that. I won't tell you exactly what the reason is. That's not allowed. But one of the primary, this is well known, one of the primary rules as a Mason, one of the first things that you're taught that you can never go against is the brotherhood of Masonry. And even that's spoken ULB under low breath. But you can never disobey your government. Never. You must always obey your government. And that's not the United States government they're talking about. They're talking about the governments of the world. And that's why they shut the world down and how they shut the world down. These people are all part of secret organizations. They're not all Masons, but they're all affiliated with secret societies. And you must obey your government as a good brother. Okay? How did they shut the entire world down in 10 days? Because they're all in on the plan. The same plan that they want everybody on the flat earth to get vaccinated is the same plan that they've been feeding you, spoon-feeding you bullshit, that the earth is round, and the same bullshit plan that we went to the moon. We never went to the moon. And further proof of this is that Stanley Kubrick, who filmed 2001: A Space Odyssey, he made a movie where he basically said in the movie, Room 217, I think that the entire space program was a lie. And NASA, in order to do certain things, they used Stanley Kubrick. And they used his cameras and his photography and his lighting setups. Why? If they were going to the moon, what did they need to hire him for? Because it's all a lie. And he set up the lighting. Stanley Kubrick set up the lighting for the fake moon photos, except for one thing. He said, really? I'll screw everybody, but I'll tell everybody that I'm screwing them. So he did all kinds of little things wrong with the sets, the lighting, the light that bounced off the umbrella, like the dome inside over it was all shot in Arizona or someplace, or Australia. So he would have lights coming in at different angles, so the shadows went at different angles. There's a video out there, proof man never went to the moon in under 5 minutes. So all you really need to watch that one video, and if it's true, and it is, no one went to the moon. So Stanley Kubrick filmed all of those shots for the moon, fake moon landing, and then he left all kinds of clues in the shots and in the still shots that could not possibly take place, like the shadow, like the sun is over here, the sun is over here, the sun is over here, and the lander is here. So the sun is shining on the lander. Well, that means the back of the lander has to be black, because there's no other source of light other than the sun. And yet, from the astronaut taking the picture, the back of the lander has enough light to see the ladder and all the gear on the back of the lander. That's the kind of thing that Stanley Kubrick left clues to prove that they weren't on the moon. They never went to the moon, and all of his photographs, he leaves little clues. Not all, but most. He leaves little clues that this photograph cannot be possible. You cannot have the sun shining from this direction on the lander this way and have the back of the lander lit up so that an astronaut over here is taking a picture of the back of the lander and you see the back of the lander. There's no mirrors. Had to be a secondary source of light. And Stanley Kubrick knew that and still put those photographs together because maybe he had a soul. Maybe he said, look, I'll do whatever you want, but I'm going to give them enough clues that eventually they'll be able to figure it out. And now I'm going to go back to the chat window and see what's up. LaRue Seagrass, welcome to the machine. We have the Lady of Love here, the love of God. LaRue Seagrass, I hope Jack's still here. LaRue says, good morning, Michael. Good morning, LaRue, because we are both in the same country. Good morning, Scott Del Fuego. Shout out and good evening to you, friend and people around here. Hello to all from the lovely LaRue. Jack Thompson, hello, good evening. Thank you, LaRue. So anyway, that's who's lying to you. The Vatican is lying to you. They know that the earth is flat. The presidents of the United States, they know the earth is flat. They know we never went to the moon. The Vatican knows we never went to the moon. The Masons control the Vatican. The Vatican controls the Masons. The Vatican controls the square mile of London. London controls the United States government. The Vatican controls the United States government. The Masons control all the governors and judges. And they're all lying to you. And the guy with the wrinkly face in Germany, he's lying to you too. He lied to you when he said Fazio got the guy fired from his job during the pandemic. I did not. I got the guy fired from his job 4+ years ago. I did that. I would do it again. And I will do it again. And I'm going to eventually do it again to somebody that's not working, because it's not fair to the other men on the job. The men on the job come to work. You got guys breaking their butt 9 out of 10 hours a day, or 8.5 hours, 10 hours a day with their breaks. And you got a guy that's working 20 minutes a day, getting the same pay. That's just going to cause resentment, animosity, and anger. And eventually it's going to cause problems. So you get the guy and say to the guy, look, either you work or you just find another job. It's not hard. The guy knows he's not working. Every time anybody would walk around, the guy on the roof would give him a little whistle or something like that, and he'd start moving bricks. But the boss on the job knew that the guy wasn't moving bricks, because 500 bricks got dropped off, let's say, July 1st, and in September, he was still moving blocks up to the 3rd floor. I could do that with any helper, woman or man. I could get 200 blocks a day up to the third floor. No problem, and I wouldn't really be working that hard. So 200 blocks, figure 3 days on the outset, 3 days to get the blocks up to the third floor on a wagon wheel. And he was doing it for 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 4.5, 5 weeks. And he still had 145 blocks left. When the boss finally got pissed off, the boss brought his son, and the guy on the third floor was the same guy, and the guy on the ground floor that was slacking, and they moved 145 blocks up to the third floor. Wasn't an hour, that's for sure. Because now they had 4 men moving the blocks. Yeah, so you've been lied to. You've been lied to big time. So let me get back to the title of this. The bottom of the flat earth, I want to give a big shout out to the Vela. He actually owns the mining operation on the bottom of the flat earth. I want to give a shout out to the man in charge of if some of the little fellas try to get away, we send not a German shepherd after some of them want to live on the top of the bottom of the flat earth, and they have their ways. They have they have the anti-gravity boots like this. See, this is an anti-gravity boot. Let me get a little shadow over here. So these are anti-gravity boots on the bottom of the flat earth. Look. Okay. So those boots, then they glowing in the dark. They are sticking to the walls or the floor of the bottom of the flat earth. Watch, see? Okay, so when they're glowing, they're sticking. And sometimes the little fellas on the bottom of the flat earth, they want to go away. They want to go upstairs to the top of the bottom of the flat earth, and they could take the stairs, or they could grab a unicorn and try to go up the side of the bottom of the flat earth to the top of the side of the bottom of the flat earth, but then from there, that's the Antarctic ice wall that nobody's ever been on the other side. That's where the giant aliens live that control this world, on the other side of the ice wall. Everybody knows this. So, they could go up the side of the ice wall because they're welcome and when they get up to the side of the ice wall, up the side of the flat earth, then they have to traverse across the ice, and then they have to go to Argentina and travel like 1,800 miles to where they catch a boat, and then that's where they come to America or the Philippines. And him I caught at the Little Red Door in Tagbilaran City. So the Vela runs the whole show on the top and the bottom of the flat earth. And there's a German, not a German shepherd. We call him the German war man Hunter Schmidt. The German war man Hunter Schmidt. So when the little fellas escape, or try to escape, or try to evade police action. Did I mention that all my shows are being reviewed by the police? Several different police agencies. Forgot to mention that. Sorry. I'll put it in the comments section. Oh, and by the way, the other guys' channels are all being watched too. So just in case you're still watching, or you're going to watch, or you did watch, and you know from my believe me when I tell you the police are watching these videos. I don't care whether you believe me or not, but believe me when I tell you the police do watch these videos. So when the little fellas on the bottom of the flat earth try to go up the side of the bottom of the flat earth to the top of the bottom of the flat earth, and then walk over the ice shelf, Argentina, then traverse 1,800 miles to catch a boat to America or the Philippines, the German war man Hunter Schmidt, he goes after the little fellas, or he notifies the authorities that the little fellas are trying to escape to the top of the bottom of the flat earth. So that we have thankful for Carl Vela for giving us our daily bread. He's in charge of the top of the bottom of the flat earth. And we thank the German war man, Hunter Schmidt, for going after the little fellas and putting them back to work where they belong on the bottom of the flat earth. Now, the bottom of the flat earth is ruled by a very powerful overlord, and his name is Rabbi Jew Barker in the Philippines, baby. And those words should only be spoken under low breath. That would be SULB, spoken under low breath. Keep that to yourself. It's a secret. You guys get that? It's a secret. SULB, spoken under low breath. It's a secret. For those Masons watching the insanity take place, it's a secret. The kings of the bottom of the flat earth see to it that in the case of the Del Fuego, the trash is taken to the proper containment buildings. We have to thank the Del Fuego to take the trash to the proper containment buildings. The Vela sees to it that the excess bags of cash, otherwise known as Pringles, get spread onto the heads of all the good little fellas, or good fellas, if you like, and make sure the rat and or rats are properly taken care of as well. So when we say the word rat on the bottom of the top of the bottom of the flat earth, the Vela means, by definition, a rat, by definition, is someone who calls the police on my friend, Cousin Brucey, who was an acronym for the Cousin Bruce radio show back in the 1960s. And he calls the police on my Cousin Brucey. And he says that my Cousin Brucey is the stabber of a woman who happens to live in the same city of 9 million people. So when this rat called the police and said my Cousin Brucey stabbed the woman, because a woman in the city of 9 million people was stabbed, and then he accused my Cousin Brucey of stabbing that woman. What happened immediately after that, the police went to Cousin Brucey's house and interviewed him. Now, that made my Cousin Brucey very upset. So Cousin Brucey is supposedly sending some documents to let us know, my partner and my friend Warren Hunt and I know, that he's upset about that incident. So now you could also define a rat by a person that called the police on my friend and partner Warren Hunt and sent a SWAT team to Warren Hunt's house with the bazooka gun that knocks the front doors down, and said, if you don't open up the door, we're going to blow it down. And Warren opened up the door, and he was raided by an entire SWAT team ready to flashbang his house. Because a paranoid rat in another country called up my partner and friend Warren and gave information that Warren had plans to do nefarious things to another person. So after 2 hours with the SWAT team, the entire SWAT team in Warren's house for 2 hours, going over videos and documents and police records, including legitimate numbers to Interpol and Scotland Yard, then they realized that the person who called up and ratted Warren out or accused Warren of wanting to kill another person, they realized it was a false report, and they wrote it up as such. Well, and now you might add one more aspect of what a real rat is, a proper rat. Let's just call him a proper rat. So the proper rat, or the real rat, a few days later, did the same thing. And a different SWAT team with the bazooka gun that knocks down the front doors and flashbangs banged on Warren's door and accused Warren of wanting to, again, do nefarious things to a third party. And again, that SWAT team stayed in Warren's house for 2 hours or thereabouts. And when those 2 hours were up and they were satisfied that Warren was not going to do nefarious things to a third party, that SWAT team apologized to my partner and friend Warren Hunt, and they left and filled out a report that it was a fake police report. So at that point, Warren called up the police department who sent the SWAT teams and said, you need to tell the party who called up and made these false reports to not call up again and do this. And they had already had plans for that. So what happened was they said, we already plan on doing that once the paperwork is done, because in the SWAT team that came to Warren's house, the two different SWAT teams on two different occasions, the man who answered the phone in the department of the SWAT Bureau also went out on the call. So now the chain of circumstances is verified by the telephone operator and the SWAT team commander. So when they got back to the station the second time, the information was filled out and of who called, the conversation was recorded, and the threats or threat assessment was made to go send the SWAT team to Warren's house, even though it was false, turned out to be false. So the officer in charge, when the second team returned, after the paperwork was filled out, called up this third party, the paranoid rat, proper rat. They called him up and said, don't do that again. Do not call this station again. Do not call us again. We don't want to hear your voice. We don't want to hear any complaints. We don't hear about somebody threatening you. Do not do that. And what did the rat, what did the proper rat do? He called back again, a third time. That was a mistake. And now there's a story that goes along with that, but I'm not going to give that story to you. Maybe next Sunday. Maybe I'll save that story for next Sunday if I have an update. But I will tell you that the 6 men in the first, but it wasn't just 6 men that the SWAT team sent out. It was 6 men, the trucks, the SWAT team truck, and cars that went along outside, that stayed outside the building. There was the paperwork in the station house. There was the phone calls and the paperwork that had to be transferred to different divisions and copied or put on hard drives twice. And that cost the country, and more specifically, the police department, about $100,000 US. And so $100,000 worth of resources were wasted. And that's where the crux of the matter lies. Who's going to pay for all that overtime and all the fuel and all the paperwork? That's what they're all trying to figure out right now. Who's going to pay for that? Certainly not Warren. Warren was a victim. Warren was a victim. A victim. I'm telling you, a victim, I say. Warren was a victim. Let's go back. I'm going to go back to the comments because that was all in my notes. Digressing back to what a rat is. I'll go to the comments first. Okay, so here watching host from LaRue Seagrass. So let's give LaRue a little baby alive action here. LaRue, we love you, and Jesus loves you, LaRue. And Jesus knows you're a good person, and I want you to say a prayer for everybody here. And I believe in your prayer because you are sincere. That That is a major difference in praying and being sincere. So, LaRue, thank you. Salamat. God bless. LaRue Seagrass. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being our friend. Salamat. 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 LaRue Seagrass. Salamat. Everybody loves LaRue. Let me tell you something. Oh, God. I brought LaRue's name. I hope the wrinkle guy from Germany doesn't start in on LaRue. That would probably... Okay, so hello to the sweet, lovely, pure of heart LaRue Seagrass. God bless you, my friend, from Scott Del Fuego. Rats get fat while real men die. Wow, I don't know where that came from. Rats get fat while real men... Oh, yeah, okay, I gotcha. Okay, swatting will buy you some real problems. Okay, so... Oh, yeah. I don't want to talk about that. But right now, it's not theory. It's not theory. Somebody, I had to do my best Jim Carrey. Somebody got to pay. Somebody got to pay. Somebody got to pay. Somebody got to reimburse the Australian government for $100,000. Somebody got to pay. But who will pay? And how? And what efforts can be made to collect? Right now, all the details are being worked out. Somebody got to pay. Somebody always pays. The Australian government was a victim. A victim, I say, a victim. Wow, I almost knocked the camera off. I almost knocked the computer off. Rain, remember remember those straight things. All right, baby. Now we're getting into Obama. Mr. Obama, come on over here, Mr. Obama. Where the hell did he go? He's over there. Hold on, he's hiding. He's in a bag. I got Obama in a plastic bag because what happened was every time I take the chains off of Digger One, the little fella, he throws dirt on Mr. Obama, and I don't like that. So now, if I'm not paying attention and he gets loose, at least Mr. Obama is safe. The plastic bag protects him from the dirt. So Rain says, remember those three things. Remember those three things, ladies and gentlemen. If Mr. Obama, and these three things are brought to you by Rabbi Jew Barker in the Philippines, baby. These three things are brought to you by Rabbi Jew Barker in the Philippines, baby. Number one, if Mr. Obama had a son, his son would look like a Trayvon Martin. Ha. Number two, baby. Number two, if Mr. Obama had a son, his son would be in cards, playing hell with the pedophile priests. Number two, if Mr. Obama had a son, his son would be in cards, playing hell with the pedophile priests. And number three, baby, if Mr. Obama had a son, his son would be dead because Trayvon Martin has passed into the next realm of existence. Says Rabbi Jew Barker in the Philippines, baby. Salamat. I almost forgot all about those three things. I like to get, and I think it's time for me. I think it's time for me. No, that's a full one. I need a bottle of water. I'll be right there. Give me 4 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. One bottle of water. I've been talking for 3 hours. One bottle should do it. I think I can do it too. Yeah, baby, I think I can do a bottle. Yeah, I should make note. That's the difference between a real man and a sippy cup man. Real men drink real bottles of real water. They don't sip their water from a sippy cup. I should add that to my real man list. What is a real man? We're going to do a real man, what is a real man video this week, live stream. Real men drink the whole bottle of water. They don't fool around. They don't sip water, and they don't make fun of other men that do sip water. If you want to sip your water, that's okay. But real men drink full bottles of water without stopping. That's what real men do. They don't go, I'm gonna take a sip. I'm gonna do, and then abuse another blogger that doesn't really give a shit whether you're alive or dead. Why do you have to bring other people's names into it? I make fun of him. You're making fun of a good man who had a good job, and he's a good man. My friend Steve. Okay, so real men drink bottles of water when they want, but real men don't make fun of other men that take sips of water, unless the real men know that the guys who takes the sips of water are really thinking that that's a little really sippy cup, like when they were little, like the little bambinos or the little lalakis or babais, and then real men can talk about the lesser men, real men, bigger men, smaller men, and men. Real men drink bottles of water. It's fact. It's a fact because I just made that happen. And I've been sitting here for 3 hours, and I'm not peeing on my feet. We should talk about that. So, those three things reign. So lovely compliment, Scott Del Fuego. Thank you with my loving respect as a true friend. And you're welcome, host Michael from LaRue Seagrass. Classic Sailor Jerry tattoo I might get. Okay. You do like your tattoos. Classic Sailor. I can't open up that link. Anybody can open up that link, but I cannot, because every time I've discovered three things about why my computer was shutting off. One, there is a USB port on that side of the computer that it makes contact most of the time. So when I bang my desk or knock the desk, it would flutter just a little bit, an inconceivable amount of flutter, but it still fluttered. And so what I've been doing last week and this week is I put a book, a little notebook, just a little book that doesn't weigh much like this, or a book, and I put that on top of the wire. So the wire has a little pressure on it. It seems to work. That's one reason. And the second reason is the cable that comes from the modem had the same exact problem. So I have a little, I shove it in really hard, is the way it should be. So Classic Jerry. So I can't open up the link now, but you guys can go see Scott Del Fuego's tattoo. He's going to get another tattoo. That's pretty cool. He likes the tattoo. Considering what happened to the last tattoo, I guess you owe yourself a tattoo. The last tattoo was damaged. Mr. Obama, he's a bad Obama, says the wordsmith. Ask Mr. Obama how he got $25 million mansion on the ocean and why he bought right on the ocean if he's afraid of oceans are rising. Mr. Obama, come on over here. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have fun with Mr. Obama and Digger One. Digger One, if Mr. Obama lies to you, and he does that a lot, you give him what for? Okay, so Mr. Obama, the Del Fuego, the wordsmith, wants to know why you bought a house on the ocean if the oceans are rising. Well, the oceans are not going to rise for a very long... He didn't finish the sentence. You don't have to. You know he's going to lie. Okay, so Mr. Obama, can you swim? Yep. Why did you hit Mr. Obama? He can't swim. He can't swim. He can't swim. You proved that. You gave him scuba gear and weight belts and a tank and a mask, and he sunk like a rock. Yeah, but I put 60 pounds of lead weights on the Obama doll. Still, he should have been a better swimmer. If he goes swimming with you, Fazio, he should be better. Oh, thanks, little fella. Digger One. Mr. Obama, do you want to learn how to swim? Well, why'd you hit him? He ain't never going to learn how to swim. He was going to lie again, Rabbi. Okay. So, Mr. Obama, who do you love? Steve Montelli. You who? Steve Montelli. I love Steve Montelli. Why do you like Steve Montelli? Oh, because when I leave a nut out for Steve Montelli, he always shows up at the door. He loves me. I love him. So the Digger One, that's true. That's true, Rabbi. All right. So, Mr. Obama, who's got a bigger Adam's apple, you or Mike? Mike. That's true, Digger. True, Rabbi. And Mr. Obama, was it true that you shut off all the nuclear radiation reading devices immediately after Fukushima? That's true. That's true, Mr. Fazio. And was there radiation? Oh yeah, we radiated the USS Ronald Reagan and 5,000 warriors on the Ronald Reagan. And did you compensate them for the money? Yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna get around to it. No, we didn't compensate them for the money. So you knew about the radiation? Yeah, we knew. And you shut off all the radiation detectors on all public buildings and schools and colleges? Yeah, we did that. And you knew the men on the USS Ronald Reagan were going to get irradiated? Yep, we knew that too. But you knew you weren't going to give them medical attention? No. Were you going to say no? Yeah. So you're a bad Obama. You're a very bad Obama. Sorry, Rabbi. By nature, I'm a politician. I'm a political animal. Rabbi, forgive me. Okay, Mr. Obama. You're forgiven. Digger, do you forgive him? Digger says he loves you too, Mr. Obama. You want to spoon him? Spoon Mr. Obama, Digger. He loves you. He's spooning you, Mr. Obama. Digger, you wanna give Obama your bippy? Mr. Obama, he's sharing his bippy with you, Mr. Obama. Okay, Digger, if I let you out of those chains, will you promise not to dig? No, it's my nature. I dig holes that I can't get out of. Are you talking about like when you was in the football field, when you got loose and dug all the holes in the football field? Yeah, that. And also, sometimes I make fake phone calls to big authorities and cost them lots of money. You did that? Well, I never admit it, but I heard stories. Well, we'll talk about that next week. By next week, we should know more, Digger. Okay, Rabbi, thank you. Mr. Obama, say goodbye. Goodbye, Scott Del Fuego, wordsmith. Goodbye, LaRue Seagrass. We love you. And Mr. Obama, one more question. Is Hillary guilty? Yeah! Hillary did everything. Russian Gate, the John Podesta files, the emails, destroyed government gadgets and computers, and also she's part of what is known as Pizzagate cover-up, the Pizzagate cover-up. Well, thanks, Mr. Obama. It's probably the first time you ever said the truth. So you go away now, Mr. Obama. Want to fly? Yeah, make me fly. I'm flying. I'm flying. I'm lying. If I'm lying, I'm flying. See you guys later. Digger, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you go over there. And if you could get out of the chains, I want you to dig a hole for Mr. Obama, okay? Oh, yeah, Rabbi. I think I can work this out. I've been watching a lot of Houdini movies. Okay, Digger, you let me hold it. Well, I'll know how that works out for you. Digger's been watching Houdini movies, so he thinks he can get out of the chains, and then he's gonna dig a hole for Mr. Obama. Salamat, Digger. You're welcome. What's up, Rabbi? Okay, humping. Okay, Scott, he didn't actually answer your question about why, because he was going to lie, but we all know that he was lying. So what I'm going to do, it's 3 hours and 2 minutes. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, and I'm going to end it. I actually, you know who's missing today? Jeez, Warren is missing. My friend Warren, my partner. Warren, wherefore art thou? I wonder what the heck happened to Warren. I tried to contact Warren this morning. He had a bunch of guys over last night playing music. They probably were jamming until late, and but even by now he should be up. But his friends, most of them work for the. Most of them are musicians, and they work gigs at night, and so they might have played music till the wee hours of the morning. So I hope that's what the case is. I only left just one quick message for Warren. So Warren, if you watch this live stream, I'll give you a little shout out to Warren H, because Warren H is working on the top of the bottom of the flat earth to figure out how the SWAT teams can get reimbursed for their money. That's the truth. I wouldn't lie to you about that. And now, again, I'll tell you, all you people out there, that the authorities like these videos. They love these videos. LaRue Seagrass, thank you for stopping by. Salamat. I'm getting not hot. It's not really that hot, but I did drink 2 bottles of water. I don't really have to use the restroom yet. But there is someone I want to see about a project. And that man, he just got back. a friend of mine was stuck in Australia. He left for 2 weeks on vacation, March 11th. And he got back whatever day my last live stream was, Thursday afternoon. He was stuck in Australia for 5 months. And when I went by his house yesterday to say hello, he was sleeping. And then I came back later on after I picked up vegetables, and he was still sleeping. And then I went by last night, and he was still sleeping. So apparently he didn't get much sleep in the detention, the lockdown. What do they call that when you go in? He had to go into quarantine. He was in quarantine. Supposed to go in quarantine for 2 days or 3 days in Manila, but 5 weeks ago he got to Manila, so he was in quarantine for every bit of 30 days. I don't know how that worked out. I haven't actually had a chance to talk to him. I'm looking forward to getting that information so I could pass it on, so I could have more real content. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Scott, thank you. LaRue, thank you. Rain, thanks for bringing up Mr. Obama. Thank you. Jack Thompson, thank you. Simulacron, I'm not watching. I'm not moving the mouse or anything. Simulacron, thank you. There was 2 new guys, new names here to help. I think was one. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for not leaving any shitty comments, because I've seen you in a couple of different places. So thank you. If you're still here, thanks for watching. The guy from Germany, I never blocked you. I don't know why you accused me of blocking you, but I'm also going to say I have never left any comment under any name, under any channel on your page. I don't give a shit. I typically won't leave comments unless they're positive comments, and I've not seen anything positive on your channel. And the ones that I could leave a comment in as a positive thing, it's just going to attract more trolls. So I don't even do that. So the guy from Germany, you just have at it. Try to, if you want to do satire and what you think is comedy and or hate and or drama, be my guest. But try to keep it more realistic, because the more realistic it is, the more interesting people will find you. Just, you don't have to send me a super chat, but it'll probably be good, because that would be the last piece of information I give you on how to make your channel better. And you need a lot of help. So if you want help in the future, come on to my channel under your channel name and send me some super chat. Don't be afraid of giving me super chat. Everybody does eventually. It just comes a point in everybody's life where they say, the guy, he puts on a good show, let me give him some dough. And you'll come around. You'll come around. You'll be giving me money sooner or later. You'll be giving me money for super chat, or you could become a member of my Patreon account. We have Patreon accounts up to $100 a month. You can donate. One guy came in at $500. He only lasted a few months, but thank you very much, Mr. V. And Rain is still here. Let's say goodbye. So to the guy in Germany, options are making great videos and saying Michael Fazio he's the best vlogger on YouTube, because I'm way better than you, guy in Germany. I'm way better than you. You will never, without any content on your channel other than hate, satire, and drama, you'll never be anything worth watching other than a joke. And that's why people watch you, for the comedic value and the joke value. But you'll never be me, I'll never be you, and you'll never have any content on your channel that people will say, that guy is, he's done a lot of things, All you ever do is blah, 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 blah. So if you want more pointers on how to run a better channel, let's just say to make it reasonable, let's go with $10 super chats from you, minimum $10 super chats. You can go more because that would be showing me the respect I deserve and your way of apologizing for lying about when I got that guy fired. It was 4 years ago, not 4 months ago. And so if you want to apologize, send me several $10 super chats and maybe a little note saying, you know, we are sorry, Michael Fazio. We screwed up. We don't know how to do drama. We don't know how to do satire. We don't know how to run a channel properly. And add a little bit more that you don't have any content worth watching. So even now, you should be sending me super chat. I'm waiting because I gave you more information. So each piece of information was worth $10. So you could go back and review this on another day later on. Say, well, you gave me 4 pieces of information after the first piece. That's $40 that I owe Mr. Fazio. That'll be great. Thanks very much. Wrinkled guy in Germany. Rain, thanks for the show and review of my video. Been a watcher since 2012. I remember the first time you said those 3 things. Wow. Yeah. Some people have been watching. That's my second channel. The first channel I screwed up. I screwed up once, and YouTube algorithms got me for 2 other things. A song playing in the background of a boat or a car that was going by. I could never figure out where. It was a song that I couldn't hear that they said was a copyright claim. And I got a strike for that. And the second strike was I put too many tags in the comment box. In the where you comment on the description box. I had my tags in the description box, and I would put the whole tag file in the description box and pick the tags I wanted out of that. And I forgot to take the tags out of the description box. Got a strike for that. And the third one, that was my fault. Anyway, $40 from the wrinkled guy in Germany for the 4 pieces of information I gave you to help make your channel better. Especially the part about putting on some worthwhile content, something you've done, some achievement that you've made, a high school letter maybe, or a college degree, or a job, or show somebody that you know how to work with your hands, or that you could run, that you might have been an athlete or something. That's more. Now that we're up to $70. You want me to keep going? That's 7 times 10, $10 super chats would make a rainbow on my page. Thanks very much. Everybody, I'm going to say goodbye. Salamat, Rain. Thank you for stopping by. And everybody else, let's see who else I missed. We did say thank you to LaRue. Eric Von Zipper, another recent commenter on my channel, Eric Von Zipper. Barb Cartel had a great question, Barb Cartel. TT Tony 2002. What's up, Mike? It's Tony from HB. How you been? I'm sorry, I didn't see that comment before, Tony. I've been good. Tony from HB. A lot of Tonys in HB. Thanks for stopping by, Tony. Barb Cartel, thank you. Ann Garcia was timed out and she left. And I think that's it. John Escape. I apologize. John Escape, thank you for stopping by. And let's see who else. Laurence Ahmed. I missed that comment because I saw somebody getting flagged over there. Thank you. And 222 Fox 1. Thank you, 222 Fox 1. And him I met, and we had a great time. We had some good laughs, and we did some. That's the day I got hit by the jet ski, by the Chinese. Oh, yeah, by the way, to the wrinkled guy in Germany, that's real. I really got hit by a jet ski. Whatever you say to the contrary is just total bullshit. You should add another $10 super chat to the 70 that you should already be volunteering towards my direction. Andrew Steinmetz, my friend Blue Rose, thank you for stopping by. Bobby Digital, thank you for stopping by. And that's it from the machine. And as always, we will show you the rainbows flashing colors on my screen. I see green, I see green, I see green, I see blue. Flashing colors on the screen. It's so good to see green. We love green, we love blue. Michael Fazio thanks you. More glue for Scott's fingers. More super chat from Scott. A simulacron. He nails it at 555. That rhymes with something. I have no damn clue. I know clue rhymes with glue, and we thank you, Scott Del Fuego, Jack Thompson, Simulacron, Salamat. And also for Brutally Fat Fingers, I didn't forget, I was going to mention you again, Brutally Fat Fingers. The way you, what you can do, if you don't want to go to the garment district to go pick up a couple of bolts of fabric to make your new tent for your new gig, what you can do is, if you don't want to pay full price at the garment industry, what you do is look for in the classified, like a sewing shop going out of business, and they'll have remnants. Now, I don't know enough to make a tent big enough for you, unless you want to do like a patchwork tent. But I would with the bolts and just do something spiffy, because it's a new gig, and my friend and partner did not give you the $250, so you need a new tent to wear to your next gig. And remember, Brutally Fat Fingers, I did not mention you for 14 months, Brutally Fat Fingers, not once, never in a comment, never replied to a comment from you, never answered any question other than the reason you got blocked is because you didn't give me the piece of information I asked you for, never left a comment on somebody else's page, never left a comment on your page, never watched any of your videos, never mentioned you to even my friend and/or Warren, my partner, never in 14 months. And you have to come on the Wrinkle Guy from Germany's channel and leave shit messages about Michael Fazio. That's wrong. So Brutally Fat Fingers, the money well, the wishing well, the money tap from my friend and partner dried up when you made fun of me on the Wrinkly Guy from Germany's channel. So ask him for the $250. And calling me an e-beggar, to digress, you have some sort of program that if people want to talk to you, they have to pay you money to chat with you privately. That's a good thing. I like that idea. I enjoy that idea a lot. But I have Patreon, which is basically the same thing. And I have Super Chat, and I have my comment section. So, but calling me an e-beggar when you begged $1,000 from my friend and partner, Warren H., you begged him for $1,000, and then he asked you for some information before that, and then after that, and you ignored him, and then you went to show even more disrespect to Warren. You asked him for another $250 and ignored the request that he made of you. You ignored the question altogether, whether or not you could get the information, whether or not you had the information, whether or not you would ask for the information. You just totally ignored him and said, give me another $250. I don't even know if you said please, Brutally Fat Fingers. And what did you want the $250 for? For a new tent to wear to your next gig. So you should be giving me Super Chat money, because you called me the best e-beggar on YouTube, and now I'm giving you advice of how you just cost yourself with your ignorance and obstinance. You cost yourself $250 plus whatever would have maybe come in the future, because You ignored my friend and partner's request for a piece of information and then insulted him by saying, give me more, give me more, give me more. So I just gave you a piece of advice. Don't do that to anybody else. So you too should super chat me money. I don't know how much. Make it reasonable. Make it something reasonable. Show some serious love in my direction, and maybe I'll put in a good word for you. Maybe the well could be turned back on for the right price. Just kidding. Just kidding. You screwed up big time. We're done with you. I'm being Permy from Michael Fazio in the Philippines, baby. LaRue, God bless. You're still watching, doing chores. I'm getting very hungry, actually. I really am getting hungry. LaRue Seagrass with the cute little eyes. How do you get those eyes on there? Where is there a place to put little doodads? Oh, right. If I was on somebody else's super chat, I think I could. I don't use those memes much at all. So we still have. I think I have one more minute. I have one more. I still have one more comment that I didn't get to. Yeah. Thus, the rats. Going back to what a rat is. A rat is a guy who calls up and makes fake SWAT team raids on my friend and partner and my cousin Brucey. And also, what's going to happen eventually is those people that are designated rats, this is what will probably happen. The authorities will probably teach the rats a skill set like making candles or making processed foods like gabagool, phony bologna, and cheap red dye frankfurters. They'll probably teach them a skill when they're on real vacation, because that's very possible. And the authorities will probably teach the real rats a skill set. And I think I'll leave it at that. And I won't tell you what the gabagool or the bologna or the cheap red dye imitation frankfurters are made of. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to end this live stream. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Bing Permy from Michael Fazio in the Philippines. And God bless LaRue Seagrass. Bless you, my dear. Bless you, my dear. I love LaRue. Everybody loves LaRue. Thanks for stopping by, LaRue. 2 thumbs up. From Michael and Warren H. and Jack and Tom, everybody else, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, thank you.